can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is a apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core of Rose's atomic waves. From deep within the core of Rose's atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 130th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a few of my favorite Fallout faces this evening with Jess. Hi, Jess. How are you doing this evening?
Great, Andrew. Doing great.
Wonderful to have you. And returning, Pat. Hi, Pat.
Hey, how we doing?
Thanks for hopping on. We also have Ray tonight. Ray, hello.
Evening, Andrew.
And special new guest. Drumroll, please, everybody. Welcome to the show. His first appearance. Quality participant in the Xbox Meetup chat. Man of many talents, including delivering packages faster than you can think. His name is Sergio. Welcome to the show, Sergio. Thank you for hopping on, sir. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So glad that you could hop on. It's really nice to have you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This is awesome.
All right. Tonight on the show, this is the Respec special. We're going to get into what it means to respec your character, how you go about doing that, and then all the nitty-gritty information about all the little cards and character builds and everything you aim for. We started building these characters way back when they did our first character generator about 5-6 months ago, before we really knew what we were getting into with Fallout 76. So our character started out in sort of a clusterfuck sort of scenario, and then you get to level 50 in this game, and all of a sudden they let you start making decisions like, oh God, remember way back in level 20 when I fucked up and chose 3 perceptions in a row that are totally useless to me now? I can change that. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty about what it means to get into changing all your specials and then the appropriate cards that go with each kind of build. So that is the plan tonight. But I thought that we would go ahead and start the show off because Jess has had some big news with progress on her character. So we'll check in with Jess real quick before we hop into the show. Jess, what's been going on?
Well, I kind of came to a decision about a week and a half ago after last show. I'm like, I need to finish the story before next season of the Roundtable. So I've jumped on, and since last week, I've done all the Brotherhood quests. Finally did Fort Defiance, the DMV. That was fun. It took forever. Did the Glass Cavern. And then I also did Bunker Buster, got into the Enclave, did all those quests, and I'm almost to General. So that's been I got a lot of playtime in this week, and it's kind of different because, to steal a word from Pat, I've been derping around a lot lately.
Nice.
If I'm not doing camps, I'm hanging out with people getting badges. If I'm not hanging out with people doing badges, I'm just jumping around workshops. So it was kind of good to get back into the story.
Where's that word derping come from, Pat? I've heard you and Victor both use it a lot.
I think I got it from Shalene. From listening to her show.
Oh, really?
The show that shall not be named from way back in the day.
That.
Way back in the day.
That.
But I don't know. I'm not sure if it's like a gaming. I don't think I heard it before. Because it's so applicable for the open world games, right? Just as that whole feeling of like, just kind of hanging out, derping.
Yeah, I've heard people called a derp. He's a derp. But that's about it till I heard you using it.
Oh, so is it kind of like just, schmucking around? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out, know.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. It's such a good word. It really, just from the sound the word makes, I feel like it really encompasses what the word means.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, it's kind of a nonsense word, derp-de-der, it's
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it means like it sounds like
exactly.
It means.
Yeah.
But it's been great to be story focused, and I saw Andrew for a little bit on Saturday. I think it's been kind of fun too because we've been playing with some low levels. People are already starting their new characters, getting ready for the Roundtable. We played with Keith last Friday, Pat, Andrew, and I, and then the week before we played with Jerry with a low level character. So it's kind of fun teaming up with low levels, doing their first quests and stuff again. Everybody's getting ready for those new characters. So this great timing for the respect special.
Yeah, it's great. And shout out to Lacey. She's recently surfaced up into the Xbox meetup thread, and we teamed up and we're trying to do a few things the other night. So if anyone wants to, like Lacey, hop into our meetup threads, we have plenty of awesome conversations going on. I know there's one for the PS4, we have one for a PC, and there's one for the Xbox group. Just shout out to any of us in the Facebook group, and we will get you guys signed up. It's really, we're just, chatting stupid conversations all about Fallout and, our normal lives and stuff too. But we usually say, hey, I need those fucking s'mores plans. I'm hopping on tonight. Who's gonna help me? Who's gonna help me find that camp fucking fire and that stupid ass robot and all the blood bug? Come on, I need help with those blood bugs because I can't do the kindling and the fucking blood bugs all at once. Someone, please, someone with a Tesla rifle, preferably, go stand on that roof. Jesus Christ, those blood bugs. If you couldn't tell, I still don't have the s'mores plans.
Yeah, that bit's rough.
Yeah, does anyone really have them?
I have them for buying them for a vendor.
Gabe has an extra one. He's like, "Oh, I'll give you my extra." I was like, "Extra, extra."
And he hasn't
Gabe
been on
extra.
much lately. How did he get it?
I don't
Gabe
know.
has an extra to everything.
He's like,
Yeah.
he's back to work now, so like I never see him online anymore. We used to play together just constantly, and I think he had some surgery, so he's out for a while. But he's back to work, so our schedules don't really meet up very much anymore. It's too bad. I really miss playing with him. Way to go, Pat.
Was it me?
That was me.
I just assumed it was Pat.
Dropping you Nuka-Cola.
Yeah, he's always
Yeah.
cracking a. I don't even go to Biv. What's a good Biv reference I should have dropped in there?
Fuck Biz.
What was that noise? Oh, it's just my treads again.
There you go. Nice. Good pull.
All right, Sergio. Thank you for coming on the show, sir. Let's get a little bit of your gaming background. What was the first game you started playing, your first gaming system and stuff, and then how did it lead to Fallout, and what was your first Fallout game, favorite Fallout game, that sort of stuff?
Well, like my first game ever?
Yeah, what's
Wow.
did you grow up with a console in your house?
No, the first time I've ever walked into I went to a party with my parents, and I had to have been maybe 5-6 years old. And they had all the kids in one room, and I didn't know anybody in this place. Like I didn't know who these people were. And I walked into the room, and all the kids are crowded around the TV playing Super Mario Brothers on the NES. And that was my first introduction into video games, and it's just been constantly ever since. I never stopped.
So did you then get a NES at your house? And then
At one point, we not right away. They had the Nintendo over there, and then somebody handed an Atari down to my parents. So I had an Atari for a little while that came with a keyboard, and it was almost like a coding Atari, because I remember it had a book where you had to put codes in to like see something happen.
I was going to say the 2600, but that's the one before the 2600, isn't it? Pat?
It was different colors. I don't even remember exactly which Atari it was.
Pat and Ray, did you guys do Atari? Either of you?
No.
One of my nephews had an Atari.
Yeah, I played Atari when I was young, but it was already sort of old-fashioned. You know what I mean? Sort of
Yeah.
ColecoVision and Atari and those Odyssey 2000.
Yeah.
I
I seem to.
about to squash. Nintendo was about to squash the whole fucking home gaming console world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
were
that
at
blew
Texas
me away.
Instrument House.
What'd you say, Ray?
We were at Texas Instrument House.
Texas Instruments. What does that mean? You said. I think I remember you saying the first game you played was Pong. If I remember right.
Well, this was the TI-99. Yeah, and we played Pong because we programmed it.
Is that a graphing calculator, Ray?
No. It was a PC. It plugged into a television.
I think I had a TI-99 graphing calculator in high school, didn't I?
Yeah, it was contemporary with my TRS-80 and stuff.
So, you had games all growing up, Sergio. How did that lead to Fallout? What was your first Fallout exposure?
My first Oblivion led me into Fallout, because I had a buddy of mine who had a 360 and I had a PS3 at the time, and he was playing Oblivion, and I fell in love watching him. So I ended up trading in my PS3 for an Xbox 360 to play that, and then Fallout 3.
Wait. Was Oblivion an exclusive or something?
They didn't have it on the PS3 at the time.
Right?
What? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
Xbox
360.
game.
I had no idea that it was
The same as Morrowind. Morrowind was only for the Xbox.
only for Xbox.
Mhm.
Still to this day, can you not play Morrowind on PS3 or backwards compatible 4 or whatever?
I don't
Yes.
know.
No, still to this day. I
Oh,
don't
wow.
think Oblivion. I don't think Oblivion ever came to PS3 either. Did it? Was Fallout 3 the first, or was Skyrim the first?
I think Fallout was the first thing to go to PS3.
I had no idea, but
that's right,
yeah, that's crazy. I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty close. That
No, you're right. It's one of the reasons why I'm an Xbox gamer.
yeah. Well, Oblivion got me into Xbox, and I've never left. And just because I couldn't do that on the PS3. So then that got me. Then I fell in love with Bethesda as a company, and Fallout 3 came out, and that's my favorite game ever. That first feeling of walking out of Vault 111, and you know how everything is like lazy, like it seems like you can't really, everything's blurry, and then it gets clear, and you see the whole world. Like I've never felt that again in any other game.
Yeah, that was awesome. Freighter just said in chat that Oblivion did come to PS3 after a year or two.
Okay.
What the fuck does Freighter know?
A lot, but don't tell him I said that.
Yeah, more than me, but I'll shut the fuck up.
They have those Google machines.
Oh yeah, he's Googling. He doesn't know it. Freighter. Cheater. So Fallout 3, Pat, before we started, was saying that there's only one choice that could ever be the best Fallout game. I'm assuming he's referring to New Vegas.
Yeah.
Sergio,
Well, no, it's yeah. So, well, I'll let Serge answer, but I actually have a thought to relate on that. But go ahead, Serge.
No, you know what it is to me is it's
Did you
it's
have
more
something?
nostalgia than anything. Like that was the first like really big like it took my breath away when I started Fallout 3. New Vegas was an excellent game. The story itself was way better than going out looking for your father.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just the nostalgia from that Fallout is something that
Yeah.
I always kept.
Yeah. What I was going to jump in on was I've seen, I can't remember where it was, but I've seen some streamers, some Twitch streamers that I like talking about it, and I've seen couple other people kind of just sort of chiming in that like 4 is really growing on people, and in a sense that like it's not something I would have expected like when I first started playing 4, but I think for me 4 is its strength is there's enough kind of depth of plot and character that you kind of feel like you're doing things in a different way, but there's so many different ways to play the game, with or without companions. There's the different combat builds are really distinct. You can play non-combat builds. You can play power armor, not power armor. So I think Fallout 4 has just the number of ways to play the game, and also the DLC. There's a lot of depth in the DLC. So I think there's a lot to be said for 4 just because of the massive replayability, and New Vegas has the replayability, but it's coming more from like the different character and plot options, not so much from the kind of the different ways.
no,
like 4 does.
Pat, you're totally wrong. The voice protagonist ruined the game, and the game sucks because
Yeah, and Fallout 76 is terrible, and blah blah
it's
blah
just
blah
the worst
blah.
thing ever. So
Yeah.
you're obviously.
But in all seriousness, so that was kind of the aspect that said, oh yeah, this game's never going to be that good because of the voice protagonist. But then, and like even on the console, like there's mods on the console, so like even there's a number of things that make Fallout 4 just really pretty slick game in a lot of ways.
You bring up the character build and all this sorts of stuff and different ways to play the game. This is the reason I like Fallout 4. Besides that, okay, I'll admit it was the first one that I really played and to any sort of depth. I did pop in New Vegas a few months before Fallout 4 came out, but it was just to get a taste for the series or whatever. Fallout 4 was my first real game that I ever got into. So I will admit that is most likely the reason why it is my favorite, is because it was the first.
Yeah,
but really what it comes down to is that it is very hard to go backwards in the series. If you start with 4 and then you're exposed to that and the super buttery smooth fucking awesome mechanics, and then you go back to New Vegas and you're like, why am I jumping like a fucking robot? Why can I not sprint? Why am I
yeah.
turning like an idiot? Why is this so clunky? Why am I in third person? Why can I not walk up the stairs? Why, if I
Yeah.
point at them, do I fall off the side? Like, why is this so fucking terrible and hard to control?
Yeah.
Why can I not hit anything when I aim? Why can I not load the gun? Why can't I put the gun in the holster? Why can't I? It's just had lots of fucking problems like that.
I'm glad we
And
made
so
you play it.
that makes it super hard to go backwards, but I did enjoy the game a lot. You know what I mean? And I do expect that at one point after we get to eventually Fallout 3 has to be on our plans, but I do eventually like to get back to New Vegas for a roundtable again at some point. So we can do what we're going to do this season for the roundtable, or, you know, coming up for season 8, we're going to do the best side quest and stuff for 76. I'd like to do that for New Vegas because that's evidently where the real good story stuff is, all the weird shit, all the side stuff that we never really got into.
Well, yeah, there's also the DLCs.
There's like, what, 5, 6 DLCs for New Vegas?
4, I thought. There's 5 for Fallout 3, and I think 4 for New Vegas.
Yeah, Dead Money, Lonesome Road, Honest Hearts, and the Science one.
Isn't one of them super hated though?
World Blues.
Yeah.
So there's one that everyone's just like, oh fuck that.
No. Well, look, they've all got kind of pros and cons, but like even Dead Money, which is like really hard and very different, is once you kind of get it, it's really good. World Blues is silly. But
Honest Hearts is really compelling.
But I mean, a lot of it's kind of money. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and Honest Hearts has like super deep like Fallout lore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of stuff about the origins, the Legion, and all this other stuff. And then Lonesome Road is bizarre, but it like is, and it's kind of rare. You're kind of railroaded in that one, but it's a really good story. It's, you know, the DLCs I think are really nicely integrated.
So there's at least 2 more seasons of the roundtable that we can do in New Vegas. You know what I mean? And we've never touched 3, so we could do. There's 3 seasons in New Vegas and Fallout 3 that you can do with the main quest, the best side quests, and the DLCs. You know, I mean, we've got our next like 3 years of the show planned out.
Just gonna keep coming.
Yeah, and I love New Vegas, but I've got 5 characters in that one. In Fallout 4, I've got 70.
70, god damn
70
right.
What? 70 characters?
Characters that I've played.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
he is. I mean, I know you know this from listening to the show, Sergio, but seriously, he's got a problem.
He is an alcoholic.
So I started my 976 character today.
What? Why? Tell me about it.
I'll get into it a little bit later. Well, because it was in the show notes, and it didn't have anybody's name next to it. So I'll do it.
Plans to do here. Ray's already done 13 of the characters, so let's have do the 14th one too. Why not? All right, Ray, go ahead. Fire up another character, and just, you know, by yesterday, and go ahead and get him up to level 20 by today. Yeah. All right, no problem.
Yeah, I only made it to level 12.
Jeez, that's still pretty.
Jeez.
God, that's pretty damn good. Did you go to Nuke Zone and farm XP or?
No. Mm-mm.
Wow, that's impressive. Way to go.
Just playing straight story.
Yeah. So we're talking about new characters, and we're gonna get into the respec and everything here. So why don't we go ahead and flip over gears a little bit here to Pat and tell me, what is respec? How is it different from Fallout 4? And why can we do this?
So I am not a big other, as everybody who listens to me babble knows. I pretty much play Fallout, a little bit of Skyrim. That's about it. So I don't know what other MMOs do, but I know just from what I've read online, a lot of MMOs will have respec opportunities. And there's, you know, some single player games, so you have an opportunity. So respec is just changing your character stats, and you typically get there from some milestone, either, you know, like after, like in Skyrim, there's a respec through the legendary mechanic, right? You max out a skill, you get a skill to 100, and you can go
going legendary
in that skill, and you basically take 0. You get all your points back, and you effectively kind of respec in Skyrim with the legendary mechanic. So, you know, I think in terms of games that like this community has played, Skyrim is super respecable because of the legendary mechanic.
Yeah.
But it's also hard. It also gets really hard to grind those levels, which is actually one reason I used to go legendary in Skyrim, just because it gave me something to do to grind levels. But in any case, in Fallout 4, in 76, respec kicks in when you get to level 50. You've allocated all your perk points. You've got, what is it, 7 starting plus 40. You got 56 perk points. At level 50, and once you get to level 50, in addition to having the option of, you get to level 50, as I think you guys were talking about this a few episodes back. Once you get to 50, all the perk cards are available to you. You can pick them. You only have the ones that you pick, but you can pick any perk card you want at level 50. It's one it can be a brand new one. It could be one that you don't have, or it could be one that you got multiple copies of. But you also pick up the opportunity to start trading in to swap out special points, 1 for 1. And unfortunately, it's a real grind once you get there. I started respecking, I forget, maybe level 70 or so, and it's a real grind, because if you're respecking completely, you got to get a level, swap a point. Oh, and then now you've got more points in the special you're working towards, so you want to grab a perk card. So it's swap a point, get a perk card, swap a point, get a perk card. So it's a real grind to get through a complete character respec like I did with my tune. Because I started out with rifle, and I don't know if this is because of Fallout 3, but I almost always do a rifle build for my first character. Typically a non-automatic rifle is what I usually do, and that's what I picked in Fallout 76. And for me, that was the way I did it. And part of this because I just didn't know the game well. I'm not one who, I can't read the perks and kind of figure out a build. I have to play around with the perks, and then I can start figuring out new builds and new things to do. But I know there's some people who can just read it and kind of immediately know, okay, that's what I want to do with these perks. But that's not, that doesn't work for me. So I started out with a rifle build with 15 perception, 15 agility, modest amounts of luck, intelligence, and charisma, and just really crappy strength and endurance rolls. So my dump stats were strength and endurance, and my kind of middle ground stats were charisma, intelligence, and luck, with perception and agility both being at 15. And so that was my original character had at level 50. And that included the whole thing we've talked about many times before. I had all 9 points of rifleman with that character. So rather than doing the 1-1-1 thing that a lot of us do now with weapons, because I was really going all in with rifles, I got all 9 of rifleman points. And I wasn't then, I'm still not now doing anything like bloodied or any of that stuff, just because that stuff to me is just not being kind of going all in on one particular thing like that is not interesting to me. It's very effective. I'm not saying it's not effective. I just don't find it interesting. So I went kind of all in with max agility for AP, max perception for damage, and rifleman points. And that's what I finished the game with when I got to level 50.
And you were still shooting guns at that point.
Yeah, shooting guns. So I had 2-shot. I had a hunting rifle, which at that time actually wasn't legendary, because that was before they added legendary hunting rifles into the game. So I had a hunting rifle, I had a 2-shot combat rifle, and I had a vampiric handmade, which I still use sometimes now because it's pretty good. But that was what I won the game with. No melee, not a ton of power armor use at that point. And that was the other thing. I didn't go into the game expecting to be using a lot of power armor with this character. But once I realized what power armor did for you in terms of carry, weight, and mobility with the jetpack, I spend probably 70% of my time in power armor currently.
Has the addition of the backpack done anything to get you out of your armor a little more?
Not really. I mean, I can actually carry, except for my calibrated excavator set, I can actually carry more with the backpack and the strength 15 than I can in power armor. But
I assume that would be the case, and I don't know why the power armor totally ignores everything underneath.
It's consistent. It ignores everything. You're naked under there, right?
Was it that way in 4 though? I never was much of a.
I think it was. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
opened up for, but I think it's the same. Ray or Jess, I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, it did. It ignored whatever you had underneath.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that was my original build, and I with the respec, I'm now almost like inverted, like 15 strength.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say, since I know where your character is now.
Yeah. It was a slog to do this full respec because
That's
swapped.
crazy. Yeah, because you said your strength was your dump stat.
3. Yeah, I was at a strength of 3.
Now it's got to be 15.
It's 15.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I took strength up 15, perception and agility both down 9 points. Luck, I took up a couple points.
Nice.
Endurance, I took up a couple points, and intelligence, I took up a couple.
So it took 25 or 30 levels to get this respec.
Well, then actually, I did a little bit of fine tuning. Like at one point, I had charisma down to 5, but I said, "Oh shit, I'd like to be able to share level 2 cards." So I took it up a point. At one point, I had endurance at 4, but I realized, I want to be able to do professional drinker and chem resistant at the same time. So I took it up to 5. So I've actually brought my agility all the way down to 6. So I'm hardly using bats at all. Only like to hit something like a blood bug or something that's hard to hit, just free swinging.
Yeah, I hate those things.
Yeah, and like perception is the one that I move around the most, because I've got all the pick locks and I've got green thumb, but I've got glow sight, and sometimes I'll have fortune finder on, and I like butcher's bounty. So perception is one that I'm constantly juggling cards.
Yeah.
Andrew, we talked about strength. Like right now I'm running with blocker, but I'm also starting to play around with pain train, which I think actually may be something I actually go with, because it seems to be reasonably effective at kind of giving a heavy stun to even like a big enemy, like a super mutant.
Nice. Well, a little bit of a teaser. We got info from Eric coming in later. He's got a cool build here that it has some sort of weapon association to it too. But the interesting part of it to me was all the damage resistance he was getting even before armor. He has like all these cards stacked up to give him like 95%.
Nice.
Damage resistance even before his armor's even included into it. So we'll get into that a little bit later. We also have audio feedback from Will, Steve, a couple from Travis, and Eric, like I mentioned, and everybody's favorite gal has returned to the show. She couldn't keep away, everybody. She just couldn't handle not being with you guys. Sarah has sent us a little bit of audio feedback, so we'll talk about her pistol build. Also, Jess has a bloodied build she'd like to discuss. Sergio, explosive shotguns. Ray, you've got like 14 of them laying there. Pat, you'll discuss one of your builds, and I've got an unarmed, and this, I don't know. I'm not a power armor guy like we just discussed, but I've got my attempt, and this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get your guys' critique on my build with a category that I know nothing about, and see how you think I did with my dealing of these cards, and your critique about how you guys would play it differently. I built a big gun power armor build, which I never ever play. So that's my quiz for the show. We've got it here on the show notes if you guys want to check it out here in a little bit. So let's go ahead, Pat. Oh, but before we move on from the actual just respec portion, Pat, can you dissect the word for me? Is that a military lingo thing? What is like?
I think it's just short for respecify, right?
Respecify?
Yep.
Yeah, or respecification. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about your guys' respec. Sergio, you got a character over 50 where you started swapping stuff around?
Yeah, I mean, I started putting more into strength.
That's just where we're all going, right?
Yeah, I mean, with the shotguns, I needed it anyway, but I needed more carrying space, so I threw it all into there.
Yeah, carry weight's a big deal, and melee seems to be the most powerful attack. So it seems like a lot of people are floating.
Well, it's not the most. It's not only the most powerful. It's also the most efficient, right? Because you don't constantly have to be making and acquiring ammo. Right. So I mean that was the big thing for me. Not that it's necessarily more effective, but it's just more efficient. You spend more time killing and less time grinding ammo.
But you also have to look at the angle, Pat, where if you eat some cranberry cobbler and go to town making that ammo, your melee build is missing out on all that XP that you're getting the whole game. Just 3 XP here and there. Those
Plus
add up.
one, plus one, plus one.
No, because you're the whole time that you're grinding on ammo, I'm killing ghouls and getting 400 XP. So again, once again, melee more efficient.
I mean, I can go through the White Spring faster than you can, churn out.
That's no.
It'd be about 2,000 XP worth of bullets.
Yeah, you guys are bastardizing my point. You know what I mean? It's
no, actually, no, I'm dead serious, Andrew. I'm not picking on you. I'm dead serious. It's
no,
more
but
efficient.
I mean, it's just an extra thing that every time you go to your camp to dump all your stuff, you dump all of your junk and you improve your armor. You do the those people who also just take the 12 seconds. It's not a lot of time. Like you're saying, you could kill 500 ghouls in 12 seconds or whatever. That's great. But seriously, if you just take like the 2 seconds to craft that ammo before you go, that's a lot of like just minor you're missing out by the end of the game.
I don't know. I mean,
200 levels.
You might as well, just hit the stream and grab a bunch of water and boil it up, or go in your camp and build a few walls. I mean, the once or twice a week that I end up crafting ammo for the 40 XP I get, I don't think it adds up to much. But you're right. Over time, it is something.
But over
it doesn't hurt.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like Sergio could be 3 levels higher than me with the same number of hours put in, or something after 100 levels or whatever. Maybe not 3 levels, but
3 levels. Yeah, I mean, I think you're pretty close to it. I don't think you would get that many levels, especially as a higher level. In just crafting.
Well, yeah, higher level.
Ammo.
Yeah, it's fucking. I'm at that point where it's just a grind to do anything now. It's like every 5 levels you get the card pack still, and I'm like, that's an eternity away. I don't think it'll ever happen again. It's like this character. I'm the kind of person who doesn't really go back and play characters over again that much. So I assume that Miss Murray sadly only has like a couple weeks, 2 weeks, whenever we're rolling characters. So 149 here. Am I going to get to 150?
Oh, you will.
Probably, but such a grind at this level. And Pat, aren't you up to almost like 180 or something? 200? Somewhere in that ballpark? God, it gets so slow.
170.
No, it doesn't have to be.
Fun.
So Abby's not the only character I've played. I started her in mid-February, and took 40 days off, and she just hit level 120.
Yeah, that's
what grinding the White Springs does.
Yeah, I mean that's also awesome for grinding XP, but at the same time, I get a little burnout grinding the same spot over and over. But I do it. I mean, I'll go to, especially if there's a blast zone on. Fuck, I'll stop by. Why not? See what's going on.
How much point is there to it really after 50 or 60? I mean, we have this thing, obviously we're talking about respec tonight. And so, yeah, you've got those extra levels to respec, to make your character better, to grind out more stuff. But, is a level 80 character where you've already got just what you want any more powerful than level 120? Probably not.
I was thinking about that. I was like, is Alex's character level 380 something? Like, is he swinging any harder than me? A level 50 with the same perk cards on? He's not, is he?
No. Maybe because of his mad skills, but that's it.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, there's certainly, there's ways to build your character to make it, tremendously stronger with the same specs, and we'll get into that in the bloodied stuff. But
yeah,
where I'm doing, 600 with a sneak attack. Christian's bloody build's doing 12,000. So there's definitely there's stuff to that, when you look at the raw math of it all.
All right, so
and it'll be interesting to see. So we'll get into it a little bit later, but in patch 10 we'll actually be able to turn on a counter to be able to see what damage we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And do people like that? Is that a problem?
If especially when you're doing these math builds, you're curious to see if you're actually getting the the output that you're expecting.
Right. The whole issue of, is this adding on, is this thing adding to this thing, adding to this thing, or do some of them just kind of duplicate and cancel each other out?
Yep. So that'll be the interesting thing about it.
All right, Ray. Well, let's
But so for my character, respecking, I think really, certainly if I got Cobb up to level 50, I would start respecking him right away. But my Abby character, I haven't changed a single point anywhere in my specials. I knew exactly what I wanted and got what I was expecting out of that build. And so
I'm really glad you brought that up, Ray, because one of my favorite episodes, and one of the episodes that most people, or that I've heard about most, when people say, "Oh, that was my favorite episode," it's like everyone really liked the how to map out a character in Fallout 4 episode that you taught us how to, every level go down, just make a list 1 to 50. These are the perks you take here, and this is what you do. So we're going to try to sort of do that with Fallout 76, mapping out a character. So it's going to be a lot different process, right? Because it's not guaranteed any of these cards will show up when you're expecting them to, right? It's you get to a certain threshold level, and then they could show up, correct?
No, they do show up when you get to that level.
Okay. So what?
But you got to pick the right. You got to pick the right special.
Right.
You got to pick your until you get to 50, right, Ray? You only see new cards for. You see all the cards you've seen before, and then the ones that are new for the special points you picked. Isn't that how it works? Up to 50.
Yep. Yeah. So if you want to see a new strength card, you have to take a strength special. Now you don't have to take a strength card.
Mm-hmm.
You can change categories.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried doing that, and you get yourself really jacked up, because then you've got cards you've got no perk space for, and you've got perk space that you've got no cards for.
Yeah, that's only useful if you want to rearrange based on the packs you got every 5
Yeah,
levels.
exactly,
You hit
right.
20, you got some stuff. Yeah. But otherwise, absolutely.
Yep.
So Ray, when I make my 1 to 50 list now with our new character generator, how is that going to go? What are you going to do? How are you personally going to organize when you see that fresh set of rolls that you get off of our character generator? Which, oh shit, thank you, Steve. That's been put up. I didn't get that up this afternoon, you guys. But after the show, I will put up the new character generator over on the website. That is asapodcasting.com. Click on the Fallout icon. You'll see it, the little the power armor helmet there. What model is that, you guys? I have no idea.
That's still the same Pip-Boy. It's still the 2 Mark 6. Pip-Boy 2000 Mark 6. But I got you the Slocum's Joe Sprinkles version this time.
Nice. So we have updated the art on the. You'll know it's a new, fresh character generator when you click on it and see the new, fresh art design. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. So. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jess. Beautiful job on the redesign.
Wonderful. And Steven's got everything formatted real nice, looking great with the amber. Yeah. I think this is a really snazzy Pip-Boy.
It's snazzy Pip-Boy. It fucking looks good, and so far the functionality is wonderful compared to what we were doing last year when we were assigning what special goes in each level. Then you're just fighting your specials the whole fucking game. That's no way to do it. So we figured we're not assigning what specials you take at what level, and that's going to free you up to build your character in a lot more versatile way, I guess, where you can choose what you concentrate on. Because if you were like like Lee mentioned, I think Ray also mentioned, like they had these strength characters or whatever, but then their strength wasn't assigned. Like they got 5 of their main points or whatever, like in the last 40, 45
Right.
through 50 or whatever, and that's shitty that you can't get to what is your concentration until way later in the game. So we eliminated that necessity. And Jess, were you gonna say something there?
I was just going to say, yeah, it gave a lot of control back to them. And there are a number of categories. Like when you first see this, there may be some categories you don't understand. We'll go category by category when we start rolling characters, just to explain what we're looking at on those.
Absolutely. So it'll be a fresh Pit Boy up here. But Ray, tell me, how's this character build going to go? You have your list of 1 through 50. How's your strategy? What are you going to do?
So the way that I look at it is, once I've looked at the specials and see, where they're leading the character, then you decide, what's this character's fighting style going to be? Is it going to be melee? Is it going to be rifles, shotguns, pistols? Whatever you decide that you want to go with that. And, do I have enough agility to be a sneaky character or don't I? Hopefully if you don't have a lot of points in agility, you're going to have a lot of points in endurance because, otherwise it's going to be a tough road to hoe. But either way, once you have those laid out, now you start looking at, which cards do I need for, for my fighting style? What support cards do I have to have? And then, do you have room and luck? Are you going to be able to even get starch genes to be able to have mutations? So you've got to look at that. We're going to be assigning some categories at level 1. And so if that ends up in luck, then no mutations for you, unless you got a way to make a whole lot of caps, so that you can just continually rebuying.
I didn't even think of that. I'm re-rolling if I get a fucking luck of 1. I need a luck of 5. Is that starch gene plus 3 and whatever the one that is the takes away negative effect? What is that one?
Yeah, class freak.
I need at least 5 in luck, or else I quit.
But so that's how that's how you're going to lay out when you're going to take your specials, because each card has a level that it becomes active in.
Yes. All right. Where do you find that information, Ray?
So easiest place to look is in the Fallout 76 wiki. Or there's that the character builder.
Yes.
That
I suggest
that helps you out with that.
Yeah, I suggest before we get too terribly deep into this episode, everyone, this is not a great episode to listen to in the car. There's going to be lots of numbers, lots of cards, names to write down and stuff. So sit down at your desk, get out your desktop here, scroll your mouse over to the post in the Facebook feed and on Twitter. After we post the show, I will go through, and we have a lot of pictures in our show notes. I will then post all of those so you can actually see the breakdown of all the specials and everything, and all the cards we talk about in these different builds that we're going to get into tonight. Now, pop quiz for all of you guys. Just answer as I go down each special category. You have a 15 in this category. Just off the top of your head, what instinct does this tell you you're going to build? Okay, 15 is strength. My instinct would be unarmed melee, like something with your hands. Anything else?
Shotgun.
Shotgun. Yep.
Shotgun or melee, right?
or heavy guns even.
Okay. Perception. If you have a 15 in perception, I'm choosing VATS, I think.
Rifles.
Rifleman.
I'm doing a VATS rifle build if I have a 15.
Pistol too. There's a perk for pistol in there.
Pistols. Yep. Okay. And endurance. If you have a 15 endurance, what's your build?
Cannibal?
Depends on where your strength is.
You can
If
eat and
you're-
drink anything.
Strength
Yeah.
of one. Strength of one. Endurance 15.
Well,
I've
if
thought
you're
about
strength-
it.
Go, Pat.
No, I've thought about endurance. Is like I don't know that you could play like a combat monster, but that might be a really good like survivalist role play build. I think Sergio's like you can eat anything, you can drink anything, you can survive anything. Like high endurance, decent agility might actually be a kind of interesting, like kind of run away, run away and fight another day survivalist character. Yeah.
Underwater cannibal.
Da-da, da-da.
Yeah, because I mean there are a lot of really interesting cards in that endurance. You know, you could literally walk through fire
Yeah.
with the fireproof card. So
All right. Charisma 15. Charisma 15 seems useless. If you explain to me what charisma does in this game, but I have to have a charisma of 9. I love having charisma of 9, and if I could have a charisma 15, that I would just be a pig in shit. I love charisma. You first described the charisma to me in this game, I was like, why would anybody ever take a charisma card? That's just so useless. But now that I've played it a bunch with people, I think it's one of the more useful stats. I love having a high charisma.
You want to be a highly teamed like that's like
Yeah.
a medic character, right? That'd be a good
Yeah.
That'd be a very good medic character, support character. Sharing rad spuns, sharing inspirational, sharing team medic. That's doing because there's all those medic cards that like you revive somebody and you can revive somebody with liquor and they come back with health regeneration. There's a lot of stuff like that if you really want to play that up.
Heck, even friendly fire. You might not have good perception, but if you hit your people, all the better.
Yeah.
What's that one? Is that when you shoot them with a flamer, they regenerate health or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
so you just follow around, just bathing them in napalm.
Just quaff your alcohol, your food, drink, rad sponge, hit them with flame. It'll be a good time.
That's hilarious. Okay. Intelligence. If you're 15 intelligence, science, right?
Energy weapons.
Energy weapons, something, right?
Energy weapons and or
Power
power
armor,
Yeah.
energy weapons.
Yep.
Let's see.
Oh, they have gunsmith.
And
armor.
explosives too, I suppose.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, explode. Yeah, I mean, I have that card maxed out.
What is a demolition? Is it demolition man? What's the card called?
Demolition expert.
Expert. Demolition expert. And is that an intelligence?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you also got to have fire in the hole that's in perception.
And let's see, there's a few, and we'll have Sergio get into those here in a little bit when we do his shotgun explosives build. But there's a few of those explosion ones that go together with the grenades. There's one that makes you throw further, it makes the explosion ring more, makes you see the arc of the throw. There's a few cards that all really go well together there. Yeah, so lots of stuff to get into. Intelligence. So agility.
That's mostly pistol and sneak character.
Sneaky.
Yeah, any kind of sniper character or any kind of pistol character.
But okay, so what if your agility is 15, but your rifles are done, but pistols are in there, so you could automatically just do pistols instead.
Yeah.
Okay. And luck. What if you have really shitty attack skills but really high luck?
Critical build.
Yeah.
So VATS.
Yeah,
Okay.
VATS and heavy criticals and like all those support. There's a lot of support stuff in luck, but you really amp up your criticals.
And my favorite, bloody mess. Good one. All right.
That's a must-have.
Yeah, especially if you're running a hybrid build with like multiple weapons.
See, Andrew, all due respect to your wanting to share it, but I always had that on. So I get it's nice to share it, but at the same time, a lot of the people you're running with are going to also have it. So you might want to think about sometimes sharing other level 3 cards that people might not have as likely as, because Bloody Mess is so good because it affects everything. It's unconditional 15% extra damage, so a lot of people are going to have it.
I mean, that's with you. I'll keep that in mind. But a lot of people comment, "Oh, sweet Bloody Mess, thank you." When I turn that on, so I mean,
Well,
I get that way more often than complaints about it.
You share Inspirational a lot too, and a few of the others at level 3 that not everybody has.
Inspirational's nice. I like that one. That was one of the first. That was a priority for me when I saw that bumped your XP all the way up to like 15% if you have the level 3.
Yeah, see, I would take that any day of the week over Bloody Mess, right? Just,
yeah. All right, well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll totally share that when we're teaming up. And whenever I'm teamed up with someone low, like when Keith was on our team the other night, I was sharing Inspirational.
Yeah.
I think that's nice to help someone level up if they're lower. You know what I mean? And always eat those cranberry products, everybody.
All right. And I found a bobblehead I hadn't seen before. It was called the Leader bobblehead.
God, Ray, shut up! Stop it. You're
never mind.
You're ruining. Never stop it. No, I didn't say that. Ray, don't go ahead. What were you saying, sir?
No, nothing. No, never mind. Staying on track. Not heading down the rabbit hole. My bad.
I don't mind the rabbit hole. It's just you're about to burn our game show later on.
Oh, okay.
Right? I just revealed everything. So
shit. Well, it only hurt me. I just gave up the ace in the hole.
So. Yeah, you did. You gave up the one weird one that no one knew was in the fucking game. Get them all now. Spoiler alert, everybody. All right, builds. Ray, sneaky. What are you doing? Are you doing sneaky melee, sneaky sniper, sneaky medic? Is there a sneaky medic? Would there be a point?
There is yeah, sneaky any kind of fight because this is another Bethesda thing, and it's been in every single game. Sneak is the only thing that gives you a damage multiplier. And so anything that you can add sneak to, you are going to, at the bare minimum, even if you don't take any sneak buffs, you're going to do 2 times damage. And so, my main character at this point is Abby Normal, and she is a one-handed sneak. And so with the 3 levels of ninja, she's doing 3 times damage every time she attacks on a sneak attack, which with a sneak, the 3 levels of sneak, she's 75% harder to detect. So I can literally stand right or crouch right in front of a super mutant, and they're oblivious to my existence. And same thing with a death claw. Last night I was running around behind a Mirelurk queen, and she kept turning left to right, trying to find me, and I'm just hiding behind her, just whack 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 every time, 3 times power attack, and then just a couple of hits and she's done.
So, but hitting her doesn't alert her to your position. She wouldn't flip around and then start swinging at you.
No, she was trying to find me, but could not detect me, even though I was hitting her. She
can literally feel her back being stabbed, but she can't figure out somehow that you're behind her.
Exactly.
Amusing. That's great.
That's the game mechanic. That's and so that's what that's why the sneaky archer will forever be the
Yeah.
king of the Skyrim builds.
Skyrim build, yeah.
Because it's just it's a very strong mechanic in this game, in all these games, that makes it hard to pass up.
My problem with the sneaky archer build, right? Everyone knows this. I'm a classic hater of the sneaky archer build. My main problem with it, it's wonderful. I love the compound damage and stuff. That's great. My problem with it?
No.
I can't fucking hit anything with an arrow, so it doesn't matter how much damage it does. It literally, like, there's no VATS, so I'm fucked. I can't hit anything with an arrow. I can't.
So you can be a sneaky archer in Fallout 76.
Yeah, I'll do it with a crossbow, and I actually used the crossbow a bunch for doing the badge, and I really enjoyed it. And people are like, "Oh, but it loads so slow." But it's like, it doesn't matter how slow it loads if you fucking just nail everything, kill it with one shot. They do lots of damage. And I guess it was because that was before I did a big respec, but I had all 9 points of the rifleman card on there, and that happened. I was like, God, I hope it's not pistols. I hope it's rifles. And I put all the cards on. I was like, oh wow, this thing's doing lots of damage now. So those really
and you put covert operative on top of that, and you can get up to 2.5 times.
Okay, so sneak. You're sneaking. They don't know you're there, and that will automatically give you. You said 2 times damage for melee.
Yeah, if you don't have ninja or covert operative cards.
Tell me about those cards. What is ninja? What is the other one?
So sneak is a level 20 card, and that gives you 25, 50, and 75% harder to detect.
So okay, when you're building your character, you have your level 1 through 50. Sorry to interrupt, Ray. Your level 1 through 50 down there. You said it's a level 20 card, and there's 3 points. And does that mean level 20, 21, and 22 are going to be your 3 points? Is that when you build your character, when you're writing your sheet out? Are those your 3 at levels 20, 21, and 22? Sneak? Is that how you?
No, typically I'll break it up a little bit because there's other cards that you're going to need to get to. That'll be in that same time period. So you've got to account for that, because also your one-handed expert cards kick in at level 20. So you're going to need to get one of those in there. So there's
they don't stagger. I thought they would have been like, this one comes in at 20, this one is at 21, this one's at 23, this one's at 27. No, they don't stagger them at all. Okay.
Mm-mm. So ninja shows up earlier. Ninja's at level 15. So you can start getting that. You get the first level, you get 2.3 times. The second level, you get 2.6 times. And then the third level of ninja, you get 3 times attack multiplier. Similarly, with covert operative for any gun build, that's a level 27 card. It's not quite as strong, so 2.15, 2.3, and 2.5 times sneak attack multiplier.
Wait, so ninja would be the weapon, the melee weapons version, and covert operative is the guns version. That's the difference between the two?
Correct.
Okay. And they don't mix at all with bash or anything? Ooh, that'd be fun if you counted the melee for bash. Oh man. So okay. So what are the other essential sneak cards? And we also need to mention all the cards. There are a set of cards that I consider a must for basically across the board for any character. And we'll mention those here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and finish out this sneak character. You said the most important were the cards were, of course, sneak, covert, operative. That agility, you're going to crank all the way up to 15. What else are the other really important points on the sneak character?
So if you're building a gun character, at level 37, you can get Mr. Sandman. And if you have a silenced weapon, that's the first level is 25% additional damage, and the second level is 50% additional damage with silenced weapons.
Okay, so
now the one thing I don't know, because I haven't tested it, I just started a gun character. And oddly enough, this is my first gun character in
Whoa.
Fallout 76.
What?
I mean, it became quite obvious very early on that melee is the strongest, and most junk unintensive of the fighting styles. So you can do a lot more damage with a lot less junk, in order if you go with melee.
Meaning you don't need to bring junk home to improve weapons and make ammunition. Is that what you're meaning, or what?
Yeah, so for my ski sword, it's 2 steel, 2 plastic, and 1 adhesive to repair it.
Yeah, a lot of the other ones are like just wood, steel, and adhesive. There, yeah.
And if it was a gun, it would be
springs, aluminum,
yeah,
gears, adhesive,
screws.
Yeah, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, the shitty stuff.
Yeah. So the thing I don't know yet about Mr. Sandman is if it applies before covert operative, or if it's just tagged on in addition to the total that you get with covert operative.
Covert operative, you said, goes up to 2.5
times.
2.5 times. And then on top of that,
well, so my guess would be that Mr. Sandman would apply to the gun damage first, and then
that is then multiplied by
the covert operative.
Now,
which is the preferred way to do it.
You'll actually be able to test that when the numbers pop up over their head or whatever, however they're going to do that. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't easily test it now because it only procs when you make a hit. Like if you're adding a rifleman card, you can see in your Pip-Boy.
See,
the power goes up. Yeah.
But for attack-based things, you can't see that because it only fires off when you actually get an attack.
I hope you can easily turn it on and off because I am interested in some certain situations. Like I have furious weapons, and it says increased, damage with each consecutive hit on the same. So sometimes I'm interested. Like, okay, how much and when, and like, I'd like to know. Like,
yeah, they said you could. They said in the patch notes you'd be able to turn it off.
And on and off it will.
I'd like to be able to turn it on just to check stuff like that sometimes and be like, okay, in this situation for future reference do I want to go in with the furious Deathclaw gauntlet, or do I want to go in with an instigating rifle? Like I'd like to see those initial damage and everything, but I think I just want it for testing purposes, but I don't think I'd have it on constantly. You know what I mean? Just to figure it out what is actually doing more damage if I needed to answer any questions for myself. You know what I mean? And then I'd keep it off for the most part. But if you guys if anyone played fucking Final Fantasy 3, or God, I don't remember which one it was. Like you always have your little wizard. He steps up and blasts someone with points, and like a little number pops up over the bad guy's head. It's like I always love that. That's really cool. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 33.
33 Final Fantasy 33. There's probably that many. Jeff, you're the expert. Are there 33 Final Fantasy games?
There are not 33 Final Fantasies. That's
So, so when you're doing melee, so you're going to have to choose between one-handed or two-handed. And so with one-handed weapons, you're going with Gladiator. That's a perk that is at level 2, so you can start taking Gladiator, before you even leave the vault. Which is another reason why melee is so powerful. If you go with two-handed, that's a little bit later. That's level 6 that those start popping up. And if you do go one-handed, You've got also the incisor perk card that you can take
Yeah.
because that works with pointy weapons.
So no,
They're
no
kind of
clubs and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so they're kind of vague. So no baseball bats and no super sledges, but I don't know. The fire axe looks kind of pointy to me.
Why do you say it's pointy only, Ray? Because it says melee weapons on the card. It doesn't say pointy on the card.
It doesn't.
Nope, it's melee weapons.
I was gonna ask where you got pointy from.
I thought I had seen that on the card.
Nope, it says your melee weapons ignore 75% of your target's armor.
Are you
Well,
looking at the actual game? Because I'd only be able to see on the the new
Your incisors are your pointiest teeth, right? So that's probably where it came from.
yeah,
I'm sorry. What, Jess? What?
Oh, you know what? I'm checking the wiki. The wiki does say parentheses only for pointed weapons.
Oh, huh.
So I don't know if that's actually correct and the wiki's wrong.
I think the wiki is it's definitely got issues. I mean, it could be right in that case. It's not always wrong, but it's also got a decent amount of misinformation.
Yeah, I was just thinking your incisors, aren't they your pointy teeth? And so maybe that's why they
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely what they are. Yeah.
Now
it's not illogical, but it's not supported by the words on the card.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely going to be the way to go.
we're going to talk about a lot of melee builds. I know a lot of people have melee builds. Pat has a melee build. I have a melee build. Ray, you have probably 6 melee builds. And so there are a lot of different ways you can sculpt this melee. Ray, you say incisor is one that you go with. What other cards are you going with your melee build in the strength column? You're on gladiator. You're doing your one-handed melee. Is that what you're aiming for?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's all the same except for unarmed. See, I was thinking about this. I'm horrible at math, so someone help me think this out. Is unarmed actually slightly more efficient than the one-handed or two-handed, because there are 3 different cards, each with 3 stars, so a total of 9 cards, 9 points to increase your damage. Each card will increase your damage 10% the first time, then 5 and 5, so 20% each card, so a total of 60% damage increase through 9 points. But the unarmed card is an increase of 30%, so half of that, but at a third of the points, only 3 stars you have to invest. Am I counting that right? Is unarmed actually more?
You are correct.
Okay, so that is the build I am doing, is an unarmed, and gauntlets count not as being unarmed for some reason. So I never understood that, but the death tambos and gauntlets and stuff like that. So I was thinking about that. It's slightly more efficient to do it that way, and then you have a few more cards to invest. You're not doing total as much damage that you could be doing, but you do have then 6 extra points to invest elsewhere that could help you in other ways. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's continue on with our melee build there, Ray. And Pat, you can chime in with your melee build too.
Yeah, so I agree with everything Ray was saying about gladiator and slugger versions, and I agree with your math. Like I will, if I want to play around with a Deathclaw gauntlet or even rusty knuckles and power armor, I'll put on the what's the one you were just talking about, Andrew? I forget the card name.
Incisor?
No, Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, I don't even. I always forget that one's called. I always call it fisticuffs in my head.
Yeah. But then there's also there's martial artist is essential because it gives you that. It lets you the swing speed. Swing speed is super important if you're doing. Oh, actually, Andrew, your math is not right because it's 20. It's 20%, not 30%.
Oh, I thought that.
It is
the exact same. Then that is the same ratio.
Yeah, yeah. But in any case, martial artist gives you swing speed, which is super important for, especially because I don't know if it's exactly this math, but it feels like it lets you swing a medium speed weapon more or less fast, or a slow speed weapon more or less medium, and so that's a big plus. Um,
Are there very fast weapons? Is Eric over there with
the
Ripper.
Ripper is very fast, and the Mr. Handy Buzz Blade is very fast.
Is that just because those have
That's just-
rotating?
No, they have the keyword very fast. That's what they're.
But I mean, why those don't
They're
seem like
motorized.
I'll have to
you
ask
would
Todd Howard.
swing.
Why did he pick those? Right?
It just seems
What?
like those have the rotating blades. That's the very fast part of it. It's not how fast you swing it; it's how fast the actual thing is rotating.
Yeah.
Ain't
I
it
presume
default?
that's some logic like that, but
Yeah.
and then right. I think we had some debate in the Xbox chat about blocker. Like, do you want blocker or not? Because it doesn't. It reduces melee damage. You don't actually have to block. It just automatically reduces it. But if you want to be a better glass cannon, it's not good for that, because it just it's better defense. It just not better damage.
Okay,
So
that's a great point, Pat. I'm glad you brought that up. There's lots of similar cards that do similar things, but there is, like, depending on your situation, one like, do I want what you were just talking about, or do I want the barbarian that if I have a strength of 15, it adds +2 damage resistance? Like, I don't know which.
I never in none of the Fallout games have I ever picked like the damage resistance or the rad resistance or the life giver where you get hit points, because they don't scale with your character. Like, you can put 5 points into like a life giver and you get 50 XP, 50 hit points, but or maybe it caps out at 30, whatever it is, but relative to the hit points you get by the time you max out your character, that I just don't find that to be a good use of perk points.
I thought it did.
I have a different opinion, but we can get to that when we get to my.
No, chime in. What are you thinking, Jeff?
I agree with you on a number of the basic ones. The ones like Ironclad, for instance, that are specifically +10, +20. That doesn't necessarily scale. But I was going to talk about how on some of the ones in 76, like Barbarian or Evasive, it's based on as you level your character and your strength increases or agility increases, or you get armor and perks that help increase that artificially, then it does scale.
So what's an example of? Is
okay?
Is Evasive an example?
Sure. So say, and I was going to discuss this with my build, but say you have a barbarian of 4. Okay, a barbarian has I think it's max 80. I'd have to look at the card when I have it up. But so if you have 4 at 15, you're going to get a +60 defense. Okay, so you've increased the worth of that as you level because your strength increases. And then you have that 15 to 20 wiggle room, so that if you're running unyielding armor, if you're running chems or anything that's going to increase your strength, you can get it to +80. So that's where it's a little bit more variable as you increase, versus the ones where it's just +5 rad resistance all the time, or +10, which those are static. And you're right, those never get better.
Does anybody know how the computer calculates the rolls of, like, damage resistance? Like, if I have this max of 80 damage resistance plus I have my armor, does it just? I mean, does it do one before the other, or just adds the two together? Like,
it just adds. I mean, if you strip naked with Barbarian or strip naked with Evasive, you'll see the raw stat. Well, you'll see more than that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and if you want to see even more, look at somebody in a scout uniform at a distance.
what does that mean? Oh, the buttons. You think the buttons look like nipples? You're hilarious. All right. So, do we mention more stuff with this melee build? How are we doing? I guess I can chime in a little bit with my melee style, my unarmed. Like I mentioned, you got to throw on Iron Fist. I was like Pat. When I first got this character role, the character generator gave me a decent agility and perception. So of course, if you play Fallout 4, agility and perception high, that ring a ding ding, you're doing a rifle VATS build. But I kind of hated it. So once I got to 50, no, I actually waited a while. I leveled up, I think, to, I don't even remember. I might have been even level 100 before I started respecking, but I quickly dumped all my perception. I'm down to 2 perception, 2 agility, which both of those were my highest at first. And I just dumped everything into strength. And I have a strength of 15, a luck of 14. I just really think I just love luck and charisma. And those are the 3. Luck, charisma, strength. You get high in those, and you're having a good time in this game for me. The martial artist essential 3. Iron Fist, that's only 3 compared to the 9 you would have to do for max damage. But like Pat said, it's the same percentage anyway. I thought it was 30%, it's only 20%. So it turns out to be the same ratio. Let's see. Iron Fist of 3, Martial Artist of 3, Incisor of 3. That ignores the damage. Barbarian. This is my unarmed VATS. This is not the roundtable character that I have. This is something that I put together for some VATS. And honestly, I dumped I wanted 15 in strength just to have as much hit damage as I could have. So I just kind of threw the rest of them on as carry weight sort of stuff. Or, I did pack rat, I did sturdy armor or sturdy frame, which makes your armor way less, and strong back, which gives you more carry weight. I think those are all fairly essential. The first 3, Incisor, Martial Artist, and Iron Fist, if you're doing the unarmed. And the VATS, guys, there's a couple cards in these VATS that I didn't know which would work, because if you max out your luck, there's a bunch of good VATS stuff in there, but there's some that do similar things, like I was mentioning, and like you can't really tell, or I can't because I'm a dummy, like which ones, like... does it depend on what level you are? Does it depend on what your build is? Let me see if I can remember. There's gosh, I can't remember. 4-leaf clover. Each hit in VATS has a chance to fill your critical meter. Up to 3 points. Each hit in VATS has an excellent chance to fill your critical meter. Okay, excellent chance. That has a pretty. Sounds pretty good. Then there's psychopath. But right. You get this one like 8 points or 8 levels earlier, but you just save those levels until you get to 4-leaf clover. What is the difference here? Psychopath is every kill in VATS has a 5% chance at the load, so 15% chance. So every kill. So that doesn't mean every hit, every kill has a 15%. That doesn't seem like a good chance. 15% versus you wait 8 levels, you can have every hit instead of every kill.
This is something I've wrestled with a lot, Andrew. I'll be honest.
What is this?
I think 4-leaf clover is probably better, but when you look at the descriptions, the fact they're giving you hard numbers with psychopaths, the 5, 10, 15%, and then you're getting the, some better significant or whatever it is chance to hit, I feel like probably the actual percentage ends up at might be only like 5, maybe 10%. Like I'm sure it's less than psychopaths the way it's set up, or else they'd probably put the numbers. Because 5% is a significant chance. It's 1 in 20. So I don't know. I go with 4-leaf clover myself.
Yeah, I would, but you don't do both, right?
No, I mean, not unless you're doing a specific luck and heavy VATS build. I do 4-leaf clover because here's the thing. It depends on the weapon you're using. If you're using a weapon that you can get a lot of hits in VATS, where you have high AP regen, you have things that help fill the meter, and you can get 4 or 5 hits in VATS before your AP runs out, then doing one with kills is better. But if you're getting one where a lot of times it'd be in VATS for only 2 or 3 hits and have to let it recharge and exit VATS, you're better off doing the per hit because you might not kill in VATS as often.
There's too much stuff to consider.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. But I am doing I have 14 in luck on this build, and I am concentrating on unarmed VATS. So in this build I did decide to go 3 levels of 4-leaf clover over psychopath, but like we just discussed, I didn't even consider it. Excellent could mean a 5% chance. It says each hit in VATS level 1, each hit in VATS has a chance to fill your critical meter. That could be the same fucking chance as the spawn rate of the Mr. Winter Mask and the Fashnacht bullshit.
It could be.
That could be the same fucking spawn rate, which, it is a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. Ugh.
So just by comparison to prior games, I used to always get Mysterious Stranger in Fallout New Vegas because it was a nice little add-on, nice little bonus. But in Fallout 4, they lowered the proc rate to that just to some ridiculous like single digit level. So I never got it in 4, and 4 kind of spoiled, turned me off that perk. So I've gotten it in a pack, but I've never really played with it too much in 76. Just I think the proc rate's just too low to make it worthwhile.
Our friend Keith uses it, and he shares it all the time when we play. I love it. And when I play with Keith, he always shares a Mysterious Stranger, and especially when I'm playing with Keith, I love to share Mysterious Survivor. No,
Savior.
what's it called?
Savior.
Mysterious Savior. So like sometimes they come out like back to back or together. It almost seems like it's really fun to see. It's like, oh, is that the same guy? Hey, over there, what are you doing?
Yeah, which one of us actually summoned it? When you're on a team with 3 people and someone's sharing it, 3 or 4 people, it's talking all the time. I've mentioned before, I like using Mysterious Stranger in 76 because it distracts people as well. So if you have 2 or 3 mobs on you, it pops enough to pull them off you.
Yeah,
good point. Maybe I'll have to play around with it a little bit. I think I've only got 1 level from perk packs, but it'll mean giving my precious pharma. Maybe it'll be worth it.
So hard to choose.
So in this VATS heavy, I also chose better criticals. VATS criticals now do 40% damage, and if you have the one that makes it 15% chance of refilling it, that's actually a half decent chance with kill. So if you have maybe like Furious or Instigating or some sort of that style of weapon with your build, also have the mutation that compounds whatever damage of weapon you're using. That all stacking together can actually fill up your crit meter fairly quickly. And if you add the better criticals, another 40% damage on top of that can be pretty devastating. You can get some pretty good damage stacking in VATS as well. Especially if you do like a Christian style, like food, bloodied, all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get it all stacked up.
Yeah.
So I did miss one sneak card that I noticed I have in my deck.
Yeah.
Escape Artist.
Oh, if you sneak, you disappear, right?
And that's how you hide from the queen, right?
Yeah. And running no longer affects stealth.
So you can just drop down and they'll immediately lose you. It doesn't matter where you are, what are you doing. As soon as you sneak, you're gone. They have no idea where you are.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And you can get up and run away, and they still won't see you.
So you're taking a lot of damage, but you just drop down into sneak. Oh my god, he disappeared, and then you can just immediately sprint and you're gone. And so that would be your what character we're talking about? Like total like charisma medic runaway character could use that style of thing.
Yeah, that could. It's a
Sneak
it's an agility card.
Runaway. Yeah, I just mean it would go well in tandem.
Yeah, and that's a level 35 card.
I think they've patched it because I've tried it since, but back before a while ago, I was looking up, how the weightless armor works, and someone was mentioning in a little article that if you use Escape Artist and then equip a weapon, stand up, take the weapon off, and crouch and do something in a really weird specific order, that then you could take your weapon off. Usually it works as like if you just have your weapon equipped, then you're invisible. But this person figured out that if you do in a certain I don't even remember what the order was, but this really weird, intricate order of like crouching and taking armor off, putting a weapon on, taking an armor off, putting the weapon back on, standing up again. You could walk around invisible with a weapon unequipped, so you'd just be invisible all the time, which I played around with a lot when it was, but I don't think it works anymore. But that Escape Artist card is you are poof invisible. Very nice. The other thing I wanted to mention, agility. If you're doing VATS, you got to have Action Boy so that your VATS meter will, as you're running away from things, your VATS meter will fill up your action meter. I also like adrenaline. I think I made a mistake with adrenaline. I have invested 5 points into it in this character. I think that it is a very good card, but I don't think the higher levels of it are worth the investment. I think that is a level 1 card only.
Yeah, I agree. And Tenderizer's the same way for me. I will sometimes run Tenderizer in Charisma, and sometimes I'll sacrifice if I'm kind of low on food, because we haven't mentioned my beloved through hiker, where you get to carry a lot of food and stuff, food and water, which for odd reasons comes in the agility pack, in the agility tree.
Yeah, weird.
So if I'm low on food, I'll switch to through hiker 2 and then throw on adrenaline. Level 1.
There are a lot of compromises we make. Like, we're talking some ideal builds, but we all have quality of life cards that we run a lot. It's for lower chems, if we're carrying 80 stim packs, or through hiker, or even just keeping on, the food and drink cards.
And you change as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some cards that you run early on in the build. One, because you need to build up your special score for future cards, but also because it's a little harder in early on to stay on top of that stuff, and you're fighting with your pack weight and all that, because you haven't been able to do the backpack, and so there's a lot of cards that you use early on that you later take off for more power cards, but they're incredibly valuable at the beginning, and through hiker is one of those, and so are the carry weight cards in strength before you build up your big either your one-handed or two-handed attack. So, and then I take through hiker off at level 15 because that's when you can get cannibal.
No longer need it.
So cannibal and lead belly is a powerful combination. You never have to. You can get rid of Butcher's Bounty. You can get rid of through hiker. You can get rid of just about everything. So it's pretty handy for freeing up space.
All right, guys. Before we move on to rifles, Ray, I feel like I've been hammering you a lot here. Let's Sergio, let's go ahead and ask you a little bit. You've got a really interesting philosophy going here that I didn't really realize was possible. You're an explosives guy, which you're always asking us for the 40 mil grenade, the
40 millimeter
grenades, the grenade rounds, right? Yeah, you're always asking us for those. So I was like, oh, okay, well, he's doing explosives, but you're also you're big onto grenades in general, tossing those too. You're always asking for grenades. So
yeah, I mean, anything I can throw, I'll take.
Everything's like, okay, well, I got this awesome shotgun. He was like, oh wow, you've got a lot of stuff going on here. So you're doing an explosives in tandem with shotguns, like Jess was mentioning, sort of like a build that has multiple concentrations here. So tell me a little bit about this explosive shotguns. What are your cards here? What, especially the explosive part? I understand shotguns. That's going to be, there's some basic ones, shotgunner 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But there's also a few weird shotgun ones that do, spread and distance and whatever. Tell us a little bit about shotguns and explosives and how they work together.
Yeah, well, I mean, the main reason I started with the shotguns and explosives was just the near-far ratio. If something's far away, I could just throw something at it. And then if they get up close, then it's a more powerful punch. But everything is really strong. The other shotgun one you were saying is a scatter shot. That I only have 1 star. That gives me 30% less in reload. Like it reloads on no, not 30, 10% reload faster.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot because I like the double shot.
Oh,
So I'm constantly reloading that thing.
the 2-shot shotgun.
Yeah,
That's brutal, man.
yeah, it's slow, but each shot is really strong. So I'm just running around a lot.
Yeah.
But the explosives that I love it. Like I maxed out the demolition expert and also maxed out in strength the ordnance express, which each grenade weighs 90% less.
Oh, that's helpful because those things are like a pound a piece, right?
They're half a pound a piece.
Yeah.
So they go from that to 0.05.
Wow.
So I carry a crazy amount.
That's great.
Yeah, and the fire in the hole, that one's good. Just so I know where the grenade is actually going with that green arch. And then I have Grenader maxed out, which makes the radius of the actual explosion twice as big.
Okay, so the important ones are there's the one that does more damage,
Mm-hmm.
the one that shows you the arc, and the one that increases the radius of the blast zone.
Yeah.
Those are your 3 basic builds that you're going to need for explosives, which is grenades, the 40 mil grenade rifle.
Yeah. And
what
the
else?
auto grenade launcher.
Okay. A Fat Man explodes. Is that big weapons or is that explosives? Does explosives?
No, I don't think it works as explosives. Well, at least I've never tried. I never run around with a Fat Man.
I mean,
Batman is both. It is an explosive
Really?
heavy weapon, but I'm not sure.
missiles too.
I don't know. I don't deal with missiles either.
Yeah.
Those weapons are just so heavy that
I
would have to start maxing out the heavy weapons, like just to make them lighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never messed with that because even my auto grenade launcher is 20 pounds, so that's enough to run around with. And that thing is amazing. It just keeps going. And then that one, what I did realize is also the orbital strike. The explosion is a lot bigger than just a regular someone that doesn't have that stuff maxed out.
It's already pretty fucking big to begin with.
Yeah. It's because I don't know if it's the radius cards, but it's huge. Like it's always glitching. As soon as I use it, the whole game starts freezing up on me.
I might load that up because I have a couple of unused cards, and I did just a big batch of crafting the other day where I happened to come away with like 10 of the orbital strike grenades, which I love using those. They're really fun. It'd be fun to do. I might try just a fucking around explosives character. You've got me excited about it a little bit.
It's fun just to mess around with, especially with. I guess if you could add sneak to it, then you could just crouch down and start.
I didn't even think about that. So probably wouldn't be ninja. What was the other one? Covert operative. Does that count as a weapon? Would covert operative compound your explosive damage as well?
Yeah, gotta think so.
Wow. Yeah. A sneaky assassin.
Sneaker grenader.
Sneaky grenader. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Way better than sneaky fucking archers. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been pretty much messing around with that from the beginning.
All right. So tell me why I'm wrong. I'm a combat shotgun man.
I don't know anybody else's that uses the double shot, honestly. The double barrel is like you said, it's brutal. It's really slow. I'm always running around.
Yep.
But if you do get those shots, like I could look at it right now. My let's see, right now I'm hitting 229 with each shot. So I'm pushing 450 with every time before I have to reload again. So it's not too horrible, but it's tough.
Now, if you get an explosive shotgun,
yes,
that then compounds as well in the
I see that. I don't know. That's why I'm looking forward to
Yes, it
this this number thing that's coming up. Because will an explosive gun like increase because I have my explosives maxed out?
It supposedly does. I mean that's what people say on the damage output.
That's interesting.
Wow.
I want to try that out.
Yeah. You really fucked some stuff up. That's great. Right on. Anything else you'd like to mention important explosive shotgun wise?
No, I mean I don't think I'll do another shotgun again. It's just it's too much. It's too much in strength. I started a new build and I started doing it with unarmed, and it's just a lot more fun. You don't have to worry about all the shells in the beginning of the game, which are bits to find.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, briefly mention your tandem cards. What are sort of the things around the outside that you also like to use? Not necessarily for explosives or shotguns, but just some of your favorite cards that Sergio always deploys.
For a long time, I would use the magazine and the bobblehead card to find where they are. I really enjoyed those cards. I like finding those things.
You were speaking before the show with Pat about collections and stuff. You said you have an extensive magazine collection. I just recently started putting on that card too because I wanted to get enough to have lock picking up. So, but when I don't have lock pick on, I have a couple of free slots, and so I decided, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. Or I got it in a card pack or something. But now I sort of load that on because it's just like a free slot that I have. And I've started picking up magazines recently, and I didn't think there were any magazines in this fucking game. I never ran across them, but now that I have that on, they're every fucking way.
Yeah, they're really hard to see. They did a great job with
They
hiding
hid them so fucking well, but they are literally in almost every location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of atoms to be had collecting magazines because each style of magazine has its own challenge, and then also collecting one of every kind of magazine has a challenge too.
There's a lot because there's like series of a bunch of them.
Gosh, the achievement.
The achievement, I was going to say triple dip because Jess just said the achievement, so quadruple dip because they can also get the possum badges. There's possum collector badges that you can get for collecting all the magazines too. You can get a crap ton of atoms with those magazines.
Yeah.
And
I really like that stuff.
I also there's its partner Cap Finder. I put that one on too a lot of the time with the magazines and the caps together. So they make the exact same sound at the beginning, but then you either hear a page flutter or caps shake. I like the sound effect for both of them. It's a really nice effect. Right on. Thank you, Sergio, for explosives and shotguns. Jess, you had brought up what are you doing? A bloodied or something, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I put together for this as a build.
You also have a lot of shotguns here, so you're going to do. Sergio has an explosive shotguns. You're going to tell us about bloodied shotguns.
Sure. Yeah. Well, what it is, I mean, shotgun has been my main all along. My main character, Jess, she's a hybrid character. I do shotguns and pistols. I love pistols. Pistols what I take first in a game anytime I play a game, usually, and then I try sneak pistol. I like to be kind of like a rogue. Really agile in there, doing a lot of quick shots, running around a lot and dodging. And it's hard to do that in 76. So then my second favorite thing is shotguns, in a fantasy game, like up close with a two-handed weapon or a shotgun in this case. So what I did put it together here, as opposed to my regular character, who's like I said, a hybrid between shotgun and pistol, I found not too long ago, it was probably like 3 weeks ago, I got a really good legendary bloodied shotgun. So my main shotgun had been a 2-shot, and I'd use that and then switch off from that to a pistol, usually a 44 or the black powder pistol. When I'm doing at a distance, as soon as I got in close, I'd switch to the shotgun. And my 2-shot shotgun was super effective. But this bloodied shotgun, I started as a backup, and I've been doing serious damage with it. So I decided to research a bloodied build. So I put this together for my way of looking at it. And keep in mind, people have been doing Bloodied forever. It's been a really popular build all along. And a lot of them do it glass cannon style. I think like Pat was talking earlier. Where it's, you tend to be really low health, you're getting the maximum bloodied benefit, and you get in there and you kill them fast before they can hurt you. I'm trying it a little bit more conservative. So this build I'm going to talk about is a bloodied build where you take advantage of it and you're keeping your health below half, but you're also making it more of a tank. So you're kind of like a bloodied tank where you're able to take or avoid the damage and stay right in the middle of the fight. So you might not have quite as much benefit as a true glass cannon bloodied, hitting 800,000 more damage. But I'm in there with a shotgun and getting, 300 to 400, which I never used to get. I was always like 150 to 200 normally. So anyway, does that make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay. So here's what I have set up here on this. So this is, like I said, this is basically my character now, but changed to be bloodied. So in strength, I'm taking 15 because strength's super important. And I'm spreading out on the shotgun perks. I'm not putting 3 in each. I've got, shotgun, expert shotgun, master shotgun, 1 in each, and I'm putting just an extra point in there because I have an extra point. On top of that, I'm using sturdy frame, so make my armor weight half as much, which doesn't contribute to the build much, but because this is a non-power armor build, it still gives me a lot of room to carry junk. Barbarian at 3, so that gives you +4 damage resistance for every point of strength. So at 15 when you get there, that gives you a base level 60. And like I was talking earlier with Pat, I like the idea, like I said, of making this a tank, so that if you're bloodied, if you have that low health that you're using for a bloodied build, you're also combining it with unyielding, which is going to give you, plus specials as you go. So that's going to boost you up most of the time that you're in there, up to a good 18, 20 strength at least, if you have 1 or 2 pieces. And so you're getting that max 80 damage resistance. Then I also have blocker on there. That's part of the whole being a tank thing. So 45% less damage from melee attacks. Because when you're with shotgun, you're often going to be close or within melee range. So you're getting hit by melee almost more than you're getting hit by guns if you're running a shotgun build. So that really makes it so that when you are in there and you get mobbed by 2 or 3 because you rushed right into the action, you're not going to die real quick. You're going to take less damage. Then for perception, Skeet Shooter is a shotgun skill, and it's for excellent accuracy and spread. I put 3 in that, and then I keep that on my regular character too. Essentially, the only difference between my normal character and this build right here is blocker. I only have blocker at 1. And I have more stuff for, like we were talking, carrying junk, the junk carrying card, and the chem weight card. And then I have at least 1 in concentrated fire. I have 2 in this build. I didn't run concentrated fire for a long, long time, and I realized I was missing out. Being able to choose what you're targeting makes so much difference if you're going for the crippling or if you want to just get the headshots. So having at least 1, I think, is kind of essential.
I did have it, Jess, for a long time because like Pat, I started out as a rifle, shotgun, weapon character, but now I've respec to back over to melee, and so I don't really need that.
Did you put that in your bad melee build that you were just talking about?
Yeah, I think that's pretty useful.
I think it would be useful in the VATS melee for sure. But yeah, like I said, I didn't have it for most of my leveling on this character, and I did on Ron because it was super necessary from a distance.
Sorry, I just blanked out there. Yeah, I think that melee, I don't think that you can specify even if you have the card loaded. I think melee is just a 95 or nothing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
it's a whole body card.
You can't hit the head or arms or anything with melee. I don't believe.
That's correct.
Wow, so you can't target? Okay, then that would not work on your build.
Yeah. But I was just saying that there's one that I did have when I was rifle oriented, but now that I'm melee, it's just like one of those cards that sits there and the inventory never gets used anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then in endurance on this, one thing I think you'll see with a lot of people when they're showing you their stats and they're bloodied, you'll notice that a lot of times not only are they low health at like 20, maybe 30%, but the rest of the bar is also orange with rads. And that's someone who hasn't tried this build before, might not realize yet, but having that is kind of like a lock. If you don't cure your rads, if you have anything that you're hitting the stim packs, you have anything that's rejuvenating, regenerating your health, by having the rads at a certain level, you'll never go above that. So make sure that you're keeping the benefits of your bloodied build.
So how do you not die all the time with a bloodied build? Like your damage resistance? Like explain to me.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because see, like I said, I'm playing it different than a lot of people who are glass cannoning it. They're not dying because either they're in power armor, or they're just running in really fast and killing it real quick. Like Pat,
Sneak.
you get crazy damage on yours, yeah, or sneak. Like Pat, your current character with the melee, do you have a bloodied weapon, or is it instigating?
Nope. I use this furious sword that was available from the broken survival challenge.
Mhm.
So it's swing speed, furious, and some other third effect. So
So
it's a
add
3-star. Yeah. So furious. So I like furious with swing speed on the weapon and swing speed with martial artists. It effectively kind of becomes fast.
Yeah.
And that I think is good for furious.
You swing it super fast, and yeah, you're getting 3-4 hits in, and by the
Yeah.
fourth hit, you're doing a lot more damage. And
Yeah, it's funny watching when I go clean out the white spring, I can swing it so fast that the ghouls won't come after me. They it literally will keep the ghouls from rushing me because I'm swinging so fast they can't figure out how to get through the weapon. Yeah.
I saw you. When we were playing, we were running with Jerry's low-level character the other day, and he was trying to find things on the map way above his level. He ended up over by Tanagra town, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he had run into a sheep squatch, and I know you and I jumped over to help him.
Yeah.
And I watched you take down that level 80 toxic sheep squatch, and it seemed like no time flat. Maybe 4 or 5 hits. I might have gotten a couple in. It was insane how fast you melted that. So I really like that build.
Yeah. I'm having fun with it because the swing speed weapon. Let's see, actually, what is it? I'm carrying it. It's swings. I think it's swing speed furious. Is that right? Let's see. It's no, that's Fury Sword. Swing speed, furious, +1 agility. Right. So it's a really nice combo.
So on this one, the bloody shotgun I have also has a +10% when aiming. So I spend most of my time when I'm rushing in with my my hand on the left trigger anyway, looking right down the sights. So that works great. I'm like running in like a SWAT officer, gun right in front. So it works out. So in endurance, that's what I have the least in, which you might think is odd for someone that I'm trying to say is a tank. But what I've got there, I have a couple throwaway cards here just because I kind of need them. So I put Rejuvenated at 1. Rejuvenated being you get more benefit from being well fed and not thirsty, well hydrated. I mean, so that by getting extra benefit there, you're getting better AP regen, you're getting better defense. And then Dromedary, slow metabolizer, I put on just for convenience. And then Ghoulish, where radiation regenerates your lost health, and that helps here because it will help keep your health right at the edge of your radiation bar. So if radiation increases, at least you're still getting health at the same time. Charisma, I like 6. I think 6 is the magic number. Yes, it is. So 4 Lone Wanderer, 2 Field Surgeon. And that's for, when you're running solo. Obviously with teams, you'd mix it up. But Field Surgeon, stim packs right away work much more quickly. A lot of people don't mount that, and especially when you're running a character that's going to be low health, where you're keeping around 30% a lot, you need that stim pack to fill up fast, because you might not notice it till it's at 10%, and you're like, dang. And while you're getting, good damage there, you're living on the edge. So that plus Lone Wanderer helps. Intelligence, I have First Aid, Gunsmith, and Nerd Rage. And obviously with all these, there are cards you swap in and out, but guns break too fast. We know that. Gunsmith helps. First Aid, you get more benefit out of your stim packs. And Nerd Rage, as you know, it's while you're below 20% health, you gain damage resistance, extra damage, and AP.
That is perfect for bloodied. That teams up perfectly. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
definitely.
So you team that up here, and it's a 20% threshold. So say you're like me, you're a little bit more conservative. You're keeping yourself around 30% to start, whatever. As soon as you're in a fight taking damage, Nerd Rage is kicking in, and you're getting more AP regen. Okay. Then Agility, I put Agility at 11. The cards I have in there are Action Boy, which of course helps your AP regenerate faster. So you'll see we have AP regen from Nerd Rage, we have AP regen from Action Boy, we have AP regen from Lone Wanderer. So when you need to use VATS, you can, but the AP regen is also helping because you have the Dodgy card on. Okay, so at Dodgy, you're avoiding incoming damage at the cost of AP per hit. So I have it at Dodgy at 2 on this build. So 20% incoming damage, that's guns, that's explosives, that's melee. So you're losing damage from blocker, you're losing damage from Dodgy, it's sapping your AP, but you're regenerating it real fast. Then I have Evasive on. So Evasive is the same as Barbarian, but for agility, and that's where you get extra damage resistance for your agility. So agility is only 11, but again, if you've got unyielding armor piece or two, your low health is kicking in, you're going to hit that full benefit of plus 60 on agility for damage resistance. So now you've got plus 60 damage resistance agility, plus 80 based on your strength. Hopefully you've got your armor set well enough that you're up to 280 to 300 natural. And you're getting less damage from attacks based on Nerd Rage, based on Blocker, based on Dodgy. And then Enforcer is the ultimate shotgun card. That gives you a chance to cripple. So like with Pat's Scorchbeast friend, being able to cripple things can really make a difference. Like an Assaultron, the Burrows, the final Assaultron boss there, that was the easiest fight in the world for me because I got a proc on Enforcer, my second hit, and the Assaultron was just climbing, running around the floor the whole time, just kind of. And then finally, luck. And that's kind of what brings us all together. And with my style of play, I have 8 in luck. And number 1 card, Serendipity. I started running Serendipity on Ron, but I was even talking about it back in November, how much I liked it. That's the card that gives you a chance, when you're below 30% health, to avoid all damage. So once again, that's another thing. It just adds on. Maybe almost a third to half the time they're trying to hit you, you're not taking any damage at all. So it keeps you going while you're at low health.
All right. So say that again. That card was
Serendipity.
Serendipity. Tell me how evasive and serendipity relate.
Okay, so Serendipity, the actual reading at level 3 is well below 35% health. So almost the entire time you're running this bloodied build, you gain a 45% chance to avoid damage. So 45% of the time, almost half, you could avoid any damage at all. Okay, and then if they do hit you, that's when your Barbarian and Evasive both come into play. Evasive is the one for damage resistance on your agility. I think you're talking about the Dodgy, and Dodgy is 20% damage resistance. So you're dodging damage in like a bunch of different ways, and when you do hit it, it's lessened.
Is it better to have... I still don't even know this question in my head. I've been trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these cards are just like plus 2 damage resistance per agility point up to this amount. Like, is it better to have your armor maxed out or something like that maxed out? What actually gives you more protection?
In my mind, that's a why not both. I mean, that's what this build is based on, in that you're going to be wearing your best armor and you want the benefits from that armor because you're not in power armor. So the unyielding armor pieces are the one that when you're low health, you can get up to +3 in all of your specials.
Do you need just one piece or does it compound at all?
It compounds. So 2 is better. I really don't think you need more than 2. You can, use the others for other things that benefit you. But there are people who have full unyielding sets and they're running low health, bloodied builds, and they've got specials off the charts.
What are our max specials?
I don't know. Does anyone know? Because I've seen all kinds.
No, but I think like on the one thing that we have kicked around in the Xbox chat is the charisma effect for prices, and there is no. I'm not aware what the max like nominal charisma you can get, but the max that it actually matters is 20.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's true for strength or agility or other things too.
that seems to be a lot of them because the way that a lot of the cards tap out when they say max benefit would be this, that would be if it was at 20. So like with Barbarian, 20s where you hit the max, with agility when you hit the max. So that makes sense.
And I think we've speculated. I don't think we know, and maybe we'll find out with patch 10 and those damage numbers. I think we've all speculated that like Furious probably caps out at some point. I probably hit the Scorchbeast Queen 150 times the Furious weapon, and I don't think it's increasing, by
Every single time.
yeah.
Yeah, I think last week or the week before we speculated that it's probably runs like adrenaline, and they're like there's a max of 6 times, whatever. But
Yeah.
and for the rest of this build, it's pretty simple. I kept Bloody Mess on because I keep Bloody Mess on my main character because it's a better way to handle a hybrid build. Anytime you're using more than one kind of weapon, use Bloody Mess to increase, not the actual weapon perk. Get your base 3 cards for the plus 10%, regular, expert, master, but then use Bloody Mess because that'll apply to both your pistols and your shotguns, or your melee and your rifle.
Well,
That makes sense.
And that for me,
Don't-
that's a both for me. It's Bloody Mess and the weapon specific cards always for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes
but do you do all 3 levels of it, Pat, though, or do you just
No,
do
no, I do what for Gladiator and Slugger, I do 1-1-1.
And if you happen to do rifleman or shotgun or whatever,
Rifleman, I have
also the
because I did my cards the old way, and I haven't gone back because I haven't had. There's always something I want for a card perspective, so I haven't gone back and added the 1-1-1 of Rifleman. So if I'm doing a rifle, so I have 6. I have 6 agility. So if I'm lugging around a rifle for some reason, I'll usually put in 2 of those, and I'll get plus 40%.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use all 6 points for expert rifleman and master rifleman because they come first in the list. So I pick them first, and they give me plus 40. But then if I'm doing gladiator, I do 1-1-1 and get plus 30.
So general philosophy with the weapons cards is just get the first level of each category and team it up with Bloody Mess and more efficient damage.
For me, on agility, like we were talking earlier about bat bouncing those cards, I have invested between picking cards and packs. I have gotten 1, 2, 3 of Action Boy and Through Hiker, so I can tweak those however I want to, and filter in an adrenaline or filter in Ammo Smith or something if I want to, and keep those active.
Yeah, no, that's a real good way to do it, so that you can custom tailor for the situation when you want to keep something active.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, this is more, looking at the fighting build, I have a few compromises built into this one with the food cards and the sturdy frame instead of more points in shotgun. I mean, there's always a way to make something do more damage, but you're always looking at that compromise, what fits your play style.
Yeah. And I just like to be, that's kind of why I don't have my stats nearly as min-maxed with this build as I did with the original build, just because I found that the toolboxy stuff is fun. It's fun to be able to do a little bit of everything, and that's with this particular special spread, I'm able to do that.
Yeah, in reality, I always keep 1 level of pick lock on pretty much. 1 level of hacker on.
Yeah.
Hacker I don't on as much. That will swap in.
Those are doing single levels on those cards. Also, I mean, if you're building from scratch, and then you've got 12 levels between the first level of rifleman and the second level of rifleman. So are you going to only do 10% damage for 12 levels? It makes sense to do all 3 levels of the first rifleman, and then you can look at doing singles afterwards. And if you want to go back and pick up 1 single rifleman later to just drop back down to 30, but you really want that extra damage at the beginning of the game, when you're struggling to get any power together.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ray, because I've actually, if I ever start over and really rebuild, I would probably do 3-2-1, because that kind of balances what you're talking about. Plus, it also, in the late game, it gives you the option of adding any number. You can add 1, you can add 2, you can add 3, you can add 4, you can add 5, you can add all 6 points in those just by mixing and matching. 3 of basic, 2 of expert, 1 of master, and then you have maximum flexibility to throw just a little bit of oomph in there for rifles at whatever mix you want to.
Right.
Perfect. Do you guys have any other comments about specific builds that you would like to cover before we hop into our listener feedback and their ideas on their character builds?
There was one luck card
Absolutely, yes.
that we didn't talk about yet. I thought. I mean, there's a lot of toolboxy cards that
Yeah.
we haven't spent time on, Scrounger and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
and
No, okay, guys, let's throw them out. What are your absolute must cards after Pat goes into this? What are just the must cards that you have that mainly any character you do is going to have these cards?
So if you're gonna I'll just pick one. Like for me, this is me personally. Jess and Ray were talking about lockpick and hacker, but like I have to have level 3 or the max level of both of those as absolutely soon as I can with any Fallout build, just because I can't stand not being able to open a door. I just can't. So I have to have that. So those are
There's
ones that
usually a hole in the ceiling somewhere you can fall through.
I have to max those out right away. That's just me in any Fallout game.
So you're not down with Schrodinger's cat. You need to know.
That's right. I want to open that damn box and kill that damn cat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with other Fallout games. I wanted to max out the door and the terminal, but in this one, the first thing I did was the happy camper. I just spent so much time doing crap in camps that
What is that like a slower hunger? I forget what that does. What does that do?
80% slower hunger and thirst. Because that was such a pain in the ass. I would spend so much time working on the camp that I would constantly need to like eat or drink something.
Okay, I'm so thirsty and I'm starving. My agility is totally low. What does that how does that affect me when I'm just in my camp building?
Just the no, I guess the how it takes the agility away. It would just bother me constantly. Seeing that red there would bother me.
Yeah, plus there's a lot of benefit to being well hydrated, well fed. But while I'm building a camp, I don't worry about it at all. My stomach will grumble constantly.
I hate it. I guess it's a pet peeve. I'm like, God, why am I already hungry?
Can
Then
you-
I'll eat something.
I'm that same way. I can't stand seeing those red bars there. Actually, that would be a problem for me doing the bloody build, because it would just drive me crazy seeing my hit points so low or that rad so high. That just kind of pushes my buttons.
I'm trying to get used to it, but I totally agree. Luckily, when you're in build mode, you can't see your AP, so you're good.
Yeah, I'm kind of on Jess's side. I'll let myself starve and get really thirsty to the point where will that eventually kill you? I don't ever will it?
Yeah. No, you can starve to death.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever actually gotten to that point or not, but
I think if your meter gets to 0, I think you start taking damage. I'm pretty sure that's right.
oh yeah, because I've tried to fast travel and it's like you can't fast travel while taking damage. I'm like, but no one's hitting me. Oh God, I'm very hungry.
Yeah. If you get to starving or ravenous, whatever the keyword is.
So it will eventually kill you. Nice. Okay.
We're just like rads, right? Rads will eventually be bad enough to kill you.
My cards, like I sort of hinted at earlier, the starch genes and what was the other one? Class freak and starch genes, absolute musts for my character. Also the inspirational and the charisma. I love that extra 15% boost of XP. Go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say that's one thing we didn't really talk about during these builds, the mutations that go along with it.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Each and every single one of these builds, you guys, has a mutation that will enhance whatever you want to do. We totally skip that. Ugh, why?
Yeah, but I mean, it is part of it. So, like for my bloodied build, obviously, healing factor really helps, and it's okay if your chems are less effective because you stimpaks don't need to heal as much, stuff like that.
Yeah, in endurance, you should also look at Radicool.
Oh yeah.
The greater your rads, the greater your strength, up to +5. Since you run the rads high to keep yourself from over healing, that gives you an extra boost.
Yeah. That could be better early on. I'm kind of counting on the unyielding armor to make up the difference there. But that would be good, especially early on when you don't have your strength up to 15 yet.
Well, so it kicks in at 38.
Oh, so it takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
I've never tried it, but the perk I can't live without is it sounds so dumb, but I really do love Field Surgeon. You know that one,
You
and
play that one a lot.
yeah, I just really like it, and then Serendipity, of course.
It makes your let's see, HP after a stim packing like increase more quickly, or you can.
Yeah, it works twice as fast, pretty much. So when you take it, you get the certain amount of health for first couple seconds, and then the rest of it over a longer period of time. It basically halves that.
All right. Quickly, someone explain to me what's happening. I don't understand the math. I cram a bunch of stim packs, and it shows the potential about how high it can go, and then as the health meter is filling up, the potential meter starts creeping down.
So stim packs, they go like you get like a hit, like 40 or 50% of it almost immediately, and then the rest kind of creeps in over time.
Yeah, I understand that. Like it creeps up slowly, but I understand that's the solid white part. But I'm saying there's something else happening to me. Like I might be poisoned, or so I don't know exactly what's happening. But there's a potential like lighter portion of that bar. But as the solid white part is increasing slowly, my lower white bar, the potential where it says, "Oh, it would end up here," that it's not going to actually end up there because the white part starts going down too. What is actually happening there, Jess?
The reason on that for you, I think, Andrew, is that often when you're using a stim pack, you're also taking damage. So the actual, how it's going to start and show potential, but you're more using it. Yeah, you could be poisoned, you could be being hit once or twice, and that's going to move the start part down, so the white part's going to go down.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I just wasn't thinking about that appropriately for some reason.
But if you're taking it, when you're not getting damage, see if it still goes down, because it shouldn't. It should stay in one place.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, any other special cards? Serge, did you chime in on your favorite cards there?
Yeah, I mean, in this game was the camp one.
The camp.
I really enjoy camp building in this game.
That's great. Let's mention, what is your camp build? Like, we all agree that they need builds, like cards where you can just hit some sort of button and then little just load out. Bam! All your cards for camp cards are on. My field cards are on. My meta cards are on. My build and my crafting cards are on. So tell us about the homebody and all that. What are you doing in the camp? What are those cards?
I don't do any cards for the camp, honestly. I know they have that one with the 20. I don't remember the exact number, but it brings the cost of building down.
Contractor, yeah.
But that's only workshops, though.
Oh, that's only workshops.
What?
Yeah. Contractors workshops.
That's bullshit.
It says it right on the card.
Why?
Crafting workshop items now cost 50% fewer materials.
It does say it on the card. I'm not sure if it works in camp or not. I put it on in camp too, but it does say workshop on the card. Absolutely.
All right. So contractor. There's the less hunger and less thirst one, or that happens more slowly.
If you don't have healing factor, there's homebody. That heals you much faster, almost instantly in your camp.
While you're in
it gives you about the same speed of healing factor in your camp without the mutation.
Is there a more efficient materials while crafting card?
Not aware of one.
Not for camp building, no.
Is there... Let's see, when scrapping and stuff, there's like Scrounger or something? Scrapper. Okay.
Yeah, and we talked about how when there's a bunch of cards that affect how many resources you use when repairing and stuff like that.
Home defense. That's one I load when I'm at home building stuff around my camp, so I can build my missile turrets. Home defense is a good camp card.
Those were taking up too much room.
Yeah,
so
but
I didn't even do anything.
You can pop them in as soon as you start. As soon as I take a workshop, I pop contractor and home defense, because most of my blueprints require them.
Steve and I were chatting about, it's like, do different materials take up different amounts? Like if I build a wood wall, does that take as much camp resource space as a metal, brick, or concrete wall, you know? And I was thinking, well, that might make more sense that if you use concrete instead of wood, that it might eat a little more of your space. I don't really know. So Steve went on a deep dive into the internet and came up with a chart that someone was doing, and they figured out the percentages of what each item percentage wise of your camp build space uses. And all turrets, it doesn't matter which kind of turret, from machine gun to shotgun to missile turrets, they all use 10% of your build. So if you have 5 turrets up, that's most of your camp right there.
Mhm.
That's half of your camp, literally. But walls were like 0.0065. Like there's lots of stuff that's a very low percentage that you can just build a ton of. But those turrets, guys, they're eating up your camp space. If you're worried, if you're wondering why you can't build stuff, that get rid of your turrets and clear out that store tab. You've got turrets in your store tab. It's killing you.
So does anybody know if brick walls are stronger than wood walls?
That's another wonderful question.
Huh. I always imagined they were.
Maybe we can turn on the damage that watch dog bite.
Yeah,
Shoot the wall.
Because I get routinely attacked by 2 scorch beasts
Jesus.
where my camp is, and I've wondered if so my aesthetic is simple wood, but I was wondering if I'd have to do less repairs if I made it out of brick.
I have 0 clue. Great question to ask. Something we need to write down and research.
I've always assumed brick and metal take more damage.
Yeah.
But
it wouldn't be hard to figure out. Just stand in front of it until it explodes, and then see.
Okay.
See how
if
many
metal-
scorch beast blasts it takes to get to the bottom of the bottom of the Tootsie Roll.
That's
One,
like wow, one.
3.
that's a question that popped in my head when we were talking about the serendipity card, Jess. The Scorch Beast blasts, they have the echolocation like blue circles that it bam, 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 like it shoots like 7 or 8 of you in a row. Does serendipity count that whole attack as one, or like each of those rounds? Oh, I have a chance to miss this one. I have a chance to miss the second one. I have a chance to miss the third. I have a chance to miss the fourth. Like how does?
Yeah, I don't know that, but I would guess it's like a pulse. You know what I mean? Because it seems to stagger you separately, like individual pulses. I don't know.
Okay, nice. All right. Let's check in with Will. He also did a bloodied build. He's got a few different ones here. He's got the Sierra Bravo Quebec build that he specifically has for the that occasion when you go down to meet Miss Queenie. He's got a couple of different things that he likes to check in with here, Will. So he does his research. He's well learned about the game. So get your little notepads out, scribes, and Will, take us to school on a few of your builds, please.
Fallout fans, Will here with some character input for the Respect Special. A little embarrassed talking about my build since I know it needs some work, but I do suppose that is the point of this episode. So I sent some screenshots into Andrew of a few different builds I commonly use, since this Fallout's a little bit different from previous one where we can swap cards in and out, and there's definitely scenarios which would require different builds. But my main sort of general build that I use all the time for wandering the wasteland and whatever kind of trouble I can get into is kind of a combo build of an unarmed / automatic weapons build. It's strength 15, perception 8, endurance 4, charisma 6, intelligence 6, agility 9, luck 8. Should mention right off, like I have many of the weight reducing cards. In strength I have traveling pharmacy, bandolier, both maxed out, and bear arms at rank 2 to reduce chem weights, ammo weight, and heavy weapons. Batteries included I have maxed out, which reduces energy ammo, which I don't care about that so much, but I do want to reduce the weight of those fusion cores, which are quite heavy. Through hiker is maxed in agility because I carry a lot of soups on me, various foods, and
Yes, soup.
I need to get that weight down, which is also why I have good with salt, a card I would imagine most people don't use, maxed out in luck, which they spoil 90% more slowly. So I love my soups and I like to have a lot of them. So in strength, other than the weight cards, I have Incisor and Martial Artist both maxed at rank 3. And then Iron Fist only at rank 2 because I ran out of points. Figured I would rather go with 3 with both of the other ones, and that way if I were to switch to like a Super Sledge or a Knife, whatnot, I'm still getting max effect from at least those other 2 cards if I swap Iron Fist out for different ones. In Perception, I use Tank Killer, which ignores some armor and can stagger opponents, I think, but I only have that at rank 1 right now. I am hoping to move some points into Perception, and I will bump that card up. I also have 2 of the Commando cards fully maxed out, and then one of the third Commando card only at rank 1. But like I said, I'm hope to put more points into Perception and kind of get just all those maxed out so I can get my automatic build full. And I think some of those points are going to come from Endurance, which is at 4. I'm going to drop that down to at least 2, maybe even 1. Right now I use Solar Powered, which gives +2 to Strength and Endurance, but only between the hours of 6 and 6. I always forget to take it out at night, so I feel like it's a wasted spot half the time. And then Ironclad, which gives, is at rank 2 right now, which gives plus damage and energy resistance both. Charisma is at 6. That one, I guess, varies, if I'm playing by myself. It's Lone Wanderer, and some of if I'm on a team, like I might switch it, or will definitely switch it to Strange in Numbers, Inspirational, Rad Sponge if I'm in a nuke zone, and then experiment with some of the other ones. But I usually keep Suppressor and Tenderizer going too to reduce their damage output and to increase my damage attack effect. Intelligence, I've been toying with dropping that one down to get some of these perks elsewhere built up. Batteries included, I mentioned, but also Demolition Expert is at rank 3. I assume most people know this, but if you have a weapon with explosive rounds, that Demolition Expert does work on those, so you get that added benefit of it. So I would love to get it up to 5. I don't know if that's going to happen. And in Agility, I use Evasive, which for each point you have in Agility, you gain, I forgot how much, I'm trying to look at it, energy and damage resistance. So it's just more a defensive card, as well as White Knight, which armor breaks 60% more slowly and it's cheaper to repair. That's maxed out. I think some of the points that I'm going to move to is also going to come from Agility because I want to move Luck up to 11 from 8, which I have the cards everyone would expect. Class Freak at 3, Star Scenes at 2. I mentioned the Good Assault, but I definitely need to get that Bloody Mess thrown in there for that extra damage. So I guess that's kind of it for this one. Like I said, I like the way the unarmed and automatic weapons work together. None of the cards interfere with one another, and because the automatic weapons do go through a bunch of ammo, being ready, just like having the unarmed or / melee maxed out, it works nicely with it because you can kind of do the melee for a while, save up your ammo if you need to, and then when the situation arises, just go kind of crazy with the automatic weapons, which is fun. All right. This second screenshot is in, I probably didn't need to. I've been playing with John from the Facebook group a little bit recently, and he runs a Bloody build from time to time, and he kind of inspired me to toy around with it. And it's been quite fun. But all I really did with it is under Perception, I took out all the automatic weapons, rifle cards, and put in just standard rifleman cards. And then over in Agility, I took rather than go with the defensive cards. I put in the sneak and the sneak multiplier. So it's just kind of a sneaky sniper build where you go around, hopefully one hit things, and they never see you. You move on. So one more, I thought I'd just put in like my build for when I go face the Scorched Earth event, the Queen. I still hadn't fully committed to it. It's basically a heavy gunner build, but while I have heavy gunner at 3, but expert and master are still only at 1. I do plan on putting more points into this. I used to use the lock and load, which was the faster reload for the heavy gun, but I decided to leave one rank of 2 of the slugger cards as well as insider maxed out, so that I can switch to the all rise if I want to use that while I'm in there. So it's still kind of a combo build, but I think eventually I'm going to go all out with the heavy gun on it. And the other heavy gunner card I use would be Stabilize and Intelligence, which gives you a lot better accuracy and ignores the armor. Big deal. As well as under agility, I also add Adrenaline and Action Girl. I have an Adrenaline at rank 2. I think if I could put that, I wish I only had that one at rank 1 actually. For me, like the 6% you get from rank 1 is very much worth it, but for each additional point to only be 1%, I find that a little bit too costly. And looking at this also real quick, you might notice this, Andrew. I have Ironclad still under endurance, which that's not what I would normally do. Ironclad only works if you're not in power armor. I would run Radical, which is the higher your radiation, the more your strength. Especially if I was going through White Springs, where I would not be using the heavy guns. I would pretty much only be using the all rise. And Ghoulish, which the radiation regenerates your health. So I guess that's it. I'm not sure. You can comment away. I'm going to be interested in this episode to see what other people like to do and what their philosophies are. Like I said, I plan on lowering my endurance, raising my perception, lowering my agility, raising my luck, and possibly going down a notch in intelligence to get those exactly where I want to. But until next time, I will see you all in the wasteland.
All right, thank you, Will, for the lovely feedback there. Pat, how does your Scorch Beast Rend gun work into his build for Scorch Beastie Queen there?
Good question. I mean, I sort of have sort of like a little subspecialty in heavy weapons. I have and did he say he has the one gun army? Was that the one he referenced?
I believe so.
That's the one that does that. That's the one that I use that does crippling. That works with heavy weapons. So yeah, his build is his like sort of walking around default build that he first talked about is not too different from mine. A little plus or minus here and there because of personal preference, but the general idea of max strength and then sort of toolboxy with other things is that's what I've had a good time with that. It's it's been persistent for probably 40 or 45 levels now for me.
He mentioned the card Good with Salt, and then mentioned, probably not a lot of people use that. Ding, 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 over here, buddy. I always have my Good with Salt on. Especially what I do is I go around and kill stuff in the blast zone and look for all the hardened mass and high radiation fluids. But then you got to toss on your Good with Salt and especially your Green Thumb card when you go out looking for your nuked flora, because Green Thumb will give you ×2 and Good with Salt makes it last whatever percentage longer. So those are always in tandem, and I always use both of those.
Even if you just use one level of Good with Salt, it's enough to get you back to the crafting bench to be able to make your flux. Where you also want to throw on Super Duper.
Absolutely. So those are kind of three that go hand in hand. Well, also Ammo Smith and Super Duper. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are good tandem cards. There's lots of good tandem
for
cards.
Those people that have to make bullets.
Yeah, for those lame wads out there. All right. Any other comments for Will? Thank you, Will, for your submissions. Again, people look on the Facebook group. In the post for this episode on our Facebook group, you will see all these screenshots that Will was talking about. So as you're listening to the episode, you can pull it up and look at all the card loadouts that he was describing as he's describing them. We will go ahead and throw everything up together. Thank you, Will, for your awesome submission, as always. Steve also wrote in, so let's go ahead and check in with our good buddy Steve. Steve, did I put your file? Oh, here's your file, Steve. Sorry, sir. Sorry, don't be mad.
Hey, Steve here with my build feedback, and I'm looking at Ranzerox right now. He's a melee build, strength of 15, and a luck of 15. So that's primarily where my stuff is, but I also have an endurance of 12, agility of 5, and charisma of 3, and a perception of 1. So that's kind of what this build has ended up at. For the melee, for strength, of course, I have martial artist 3, so my melee weapons weigh 60% less, and I can swing them 30% faster. And incisor, melee weapons ignore 75% of target's armor. And I also have 3 points in barbarian, so every point of strength adds plus 4 damage resist, max 80, no power armor. And sturdy frame, armor weighs 50% less than normal. And some strong back. But in the melee cards, if you notice, I don't have slugger or gladiator. That's because, or unarmed. That's because I switch around the melee weapons all the time, so I don't have any special focus in any type of melee weapon. I am also carrying 1 point in Radical under Endurance, and so that the greater your rads, the greater your strength. I usually get 1 or 2 out of that, but I'm not really going for a rad build anymore. I did try that. I have the perk card for overly generous in charisma, but that's for when your rads increase your chance to inflict 50 rads with melee attacks. So I was going for that, but you know what? I don't know if that was really helping, and I feel like I'm getting more utility out of Lone Wanderer right now, even just having a 1 level in that, which takes up 2 cards. And then over in agility, I have adrenaline, level 5. I have 5 agility. I put all 5 into adrenaline. That's pretty good. Gain 10%. Max up to 60% damage for 30 seconds per kill. Duration refreshes with kills. So every time I kill something, I get 10% damage for 30 seconds, something like that. That's pretty cool. It's an increase, but you have to kill that first guy, but then it just starts going up from there until you're really swinging hard. Where this build gets interesting is in the luck. I wanted to go for a luck build, level 15, and I started out and I whatever. I picked a whole bunch of like cards that had to do with VATs, Four-Leaf Clover and Grim Reaper Sprint, but then I realized that wait, I'm not using VATs at all. And, Psychopath in there too. So I'm like, well, that's totally useless. So I started switching them all out, and so I started to go for non-VATS luck cards. So I got Bloody Mess 3, which gives me a nice fat 15% bonus damage all the time. Level 3 Serendipity for some little bit of survival there. So when below 30% health, gain a 45% chance to avoid damage. So I see that going off every once in a while. Some starch genes I just put in there, and so I need to get my mutations going. I haven't really been keeping on those, but I've got that so that I can start getting some, especially because I saw some cheap serums They're only like 200. This guy was selling a bunch of them, and I should have bought them when I saw them, but I
What?
didn't have the level 2 starch genes at the time, so I passed on it. But I'm keeping my eye out for more serums at this time. They're out there for cheap. I could spend 200 per serum. That's pretty good, I think, actually. And then I wanted to use luck cards that didn't require VATs. So there's a little bit of a interesting thing there. So I'm running Luck of the Draw, level 3. Chance your weapon will greatly repair itself when hitting an enemy. And so I see that go off every once in a while, especially with the Luck 15. And I think I have a couple of things I'm wearing that give me, what is my luck at? My luck's at 16 right now. So just kind of a resting 16. And also the other one that goes along with Luck of the Draw is Lucky Break. Chance your equipped armor will greatly repair itself when struck. So those go off every once in a while. That's kind of cool. Saves me in having to repair armor sometimes, I feel like. I don't know. I'm thinking about dropping a couple points in luck, though, because it's just their utility stuff, you know. It's not really adding to my build here. So I'm thinking of adding a couple over to maybe Charisma to get Lone Wanderer up, something like that. Over in Endurance, I do have an Endurance of 12. So I got level 4 Life Giver. Gives me a plus 45 to my maximum health. Just kind of there passively in the background. Ironclad, so gain 50% damage and energy resistance while not wearing power armor. So if you're seeing, I'm going for a melee non-power armor build here. Yeah. Then Perception, I usually switch it around between Green Thumb and Pick Lock or something. Yeah, it seems pretty good. I do want to change some stuff around. I want to add a couple things, maybe like blocker and strength, so that I can forget what blocker does, but it's good. Blocks melee damage, but I'm not sure if it works in PvP. I don't think it works in PvP, but I don't really go PvP with this guy anyway. So, yeah, that's my build right now. I'm thinking that eventually I will put the Overly Generous back on and try doing the rads again. So, especially if once I add a couple good mutations that have to do with melee. I know there's a couple good ones out there. One does like spreads diseases, and one does electrical damage, which is nice. Yeah, and then I do have a couple good weapons. I have a vampire. Was it Assaultron blade? That's great. It swings 40% faster, and it's a vampire, which is nice. Revolutionary sword, which swings 40% faster, and 1 endurance. And also it's a furious, so damage increases after each hit. The All Rise, gotta love the All Rise. And when I do need a gun, I got the Resolute Veteran, which is it was a survival reward. 50% damage resistance while aiming, 10% damage while aiming, and reduces your target's damage output by 20% for 3 seconds. So it's pretty good. It's a 5mm. It just goes choom, 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 choom. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. That's my build, and I'll see you in the wasteland.
Oh, Steve, no, I'll see you in the wasteland, buddy. Thanks for your feedback. Awesome, Steve. He mentioned two that I think go hand in hand. We're talking about partner cards, Lucky Break and Luck of the Draw. I think are great. I don't have enough room for them. I just have so many. Steve claimed, "Oh, they're just utility cards," or in the back. Like, but I like those cards. I love the luck cards. So I've actually have run out of room where I can't even have either of those loaded anymore because I was dumb and accidentally put 3 levels into the one that repairs your weapon. So like, well, shit, that's a big investment now to have that loaded. But now I've got so many luck cards loaded that I don't even have room for the 1 star and the repair armor one anymore. Really, I hardly ever load that one. But I do love both of those, and I think they work well in tandem together. Overly generous. He also mentioned that when I was first researching my unarmed builds, a lot of people were saying go ahead and tack on that overly generous, which tacks on radiation damage with your melee attacks. Now, what things in this game are actually affected by radiation?
What are you irradiating? Yeah.
What bad guys are rad resistant? Like ghouls have to be. You might even be healing ghouls.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the most common ghouls, super mutants, I think are pretty sure are immune completely. I think Scorched Star. I mean, we talked about it maybe last week or week before. I think it's robots, right? Maybe the only kind of common enemy that.
And if that is the case, that's a waste of time.
What about insects?
They're irradiated too. I think like every thing is irradiated because there's no raiders in this game. You know what I mean? Like there's no people to kill.
So one thing I did just for fun is as I was going up levels, and I grabbed the awareness card just to be able to test that out because it lets you. I don't run with it all the time, but if I'm not doing anything in particular, like I'll take off lockpick or whatever and just run around with awareness for a little while and just look at stuff like that. And it's there's a lot of stuff that's immune to radiation, just like you'd expect.
Yeah, I assume most of the monsters would be because they're a monster for a reason because they're fucking radiated.
Yeah.
Right on. Steve, thanks for your feedback. Interesting to see your build. We will get Steve's build posted as well up on the Facebook group so everyone can take a look at these. It's hard for me. I'm the type of person like I can go to a lecture for a professor and it'll go in one ear and out the other. I need to see it like in front of me in practice. I'm a hands-on visual learner, not a reading, hearing learner, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
it'd be helpful to me at least to see these things people are describing actually in visual form on the Facebook group. So I'll load those pictures in case anybody else out there is a visual learner like myself. So we'll go ahead and progress on to Travis. First time submitter. Thank you, Travis, for responding to your homework assignment.
Hello, everybody. This is Travis. And I guess you would say a very crude mapping of a taxidermist build. It would have a strength of 14 with a traveling pharmacy of 1, a pack rat of 2, a scatter shot of 1, bandolier of 1, an expert shotgun of 1, a strong back of 2, a heavy gunner of 1, bare arms of 1, a heavy gunner, expert heavy gunner of 1, a master shotgunner of 1, and a master heavy gunner of 1, and a sturdy frame of 2. Perception would have 14 again. It would have the 1 of Butcher Brownie, 1 concentrated fire, 1 rifleman, 1 skeet shooter, 1 exterminator, 1 commando, 1 ground pounder, 1 expert rifleman, 1 expert commando, 1 sniper, 1 tank killer, 1 long shot, 1 master rifleman, and 1 master commando, with a total of 14. E would be 9. It would be lead belly 1, drum day 1, slow metabolizer 1, iron stomach of 1, thirst quencher of 1, the denim skeleton of 1, one aqua boy, aqua girl, and one life giver. C would be 8, one lone wanderer, 3 barter, 2 field surgeon, and 1 travel agent. I would be 6 with 5 in gunsmith and 1 in first aid. Uh, A would be 2 action boys, and luck would be 2 with a good with salt 2. It would give 80 AP, 305 hit points, and 245 carry weight, which could be finagled with all the armor carry weight if you got the deep pockets.
And we have part 2 from Travis as well here.
Hello, everybody. It's Travis. This is my crude mapping of the builder prototype for Fallout 76. It would have a strength of 8 with a pack rat of 3, strong back of 4, traveling pharmacy of 1, perception of 2, green thumb, and fortune finder 1. E would have 15, 1 lead belly, 2 drum day, 2 iron stomach, 2 slow metabolizer, 2 thirst quencher, 2 hydrofix, 2 homebody, and 2 life giver. C would have 6, 2 happy camper, 3 hard bargain, 1 travel agent. I would have 12, 1 scrapper, 2 contractor, 3 fix it good, 3 wrecking ball, 3 weapon artisan. A would have 6, 3 action boy, 3 home defense. And luck would have 7, 3 junk shield, 1 woodchucker, and 3 super duper, for a total action point of 20, total hit point of 335, and a carry weight of 230. Hope you guys enjoy.
Awesome. Ray, Pat, people have been around for a while. This reminds me of when we did the round table season of the Fudge Muppet guys. Like, he's doing role playing of specific characters. We are over here being mathematicians with our cards. He is building professions. He's designing characters by what their jobs are, and then assigning cards to fill that role. He is doing the role play. We're counting math. He's building a character. Taxidermist. That's fun. So what is that? That's basically a rifleman, Ray, and you still need to describe that quickly. We'll get into rifleman, your ranged sniper rifle build. But that's basically, he's going to be a hunter, right? So he's going to be a taxidermist, which means he needs to hang all those heads up on the wall, right?
Exactly.
He wrote,
And he can also pick up any gun that he finds. He's got the perks to beef it. So heavy guns, shotguns, automatic rifles, and rifles.
Yeah.
He wrote, I forgot to include this in the build, but it should also you should also have a hunting lodge for your camp with all the mounted creatures available for viewing. So the mounted creatures, that means you have to do the sheep squatch imposter quest line, right? To get the plans for the mounted heads.
Yep.
Very nice. Jess, you're about to say something?
Oh no. I like what he's doing with the build for style. I mean,
Yeah.
not like you said, not the mathematically most effective, but it's got all those good cards that we all like to swap in sometimes and wish we keep matching all the time. So I like how it adds to the role play.
I do like the math here. I remember in Fallout 4, I think this was the case, but with let's see, you double dip commando and rifleman. So if you get an automatic rifle, those are double dipping on each other, right?
No, they're two separate perk lanes.
Right.
Oh, okay. So the rifleman
doesn't affect automatic
rifles at all. Okay,
and automatic doesn't affect conventional rifles.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like pistols have the same thing, automatic, non-automatic. And on his first build, he mounted skeet shooter, which is only for shotguns, so it wouldn't match with the rifle stuff.
The rifles, yeah.
But like Ray was saying, it's a good jack of all trades, where this is what you do: you use guns.
Yeah. So he's basically hunting things and hanging their heads on the wall. His second build there was builder. So, lots of carry weight, lots of, I assume, anything that would be more efficient with getting stuff back to your house to build.
Yeah, I really like that. I love the idea of walking around with Endurance 15 and all those perks.
Yeah. So that's a great way to think about it, everybody. Your profession with the character as you build your get your math together. Take a scoop out of each tub of ice cream that we've provided you. Do a little bit of math, a little bit of character building, and you have a good round table character. Let's move on with Sarah. She couldn't keep away. She likes us so much. So let's check in and see what she's been doing. It's been like a whole, I don't know, 2-3 hours since we've seen her. It's a little embarrassing, don't you guys think? She has to like come around again already.
She was in chat earlier tonight too.
Oh, geez, it's a little excessive. Sarah, we need our space. Really, you gotta be like showing up at like 2 a.m, leaving weird things on our doorstep.
That's better than missing her.
Do we need a break?
I miss her already.
Buddy, you thought you were going to get rid of me, but here I am. I am here to tell you a little bit about the pistol build I am doing with my new PS4 character. So my character is currently a level 19, and I am rocking this badass pistol. Thank you, John. It is a level 5 2-shot hardened 44 pistol. It shoots an additional projectile. And I currently have a damage of 90 on it, which I think is pretty great for a level 5. I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about where I am putting my perk points and what cards I'm choosing. So I have 2 perk points to spend. So I've got 17 points going up here. I've got a strength of 4, perception of 4, endurance of 1, charisma of 1, intelligence 1, agility 8, and luck of 4. And the first card that I actually spent perk points on was Serendipity. John and I were, the same guy who got the pistol for me, thank you so much, John, we're talking about it, I think the first time we played together, and I went ahead and picked it up and maxed it out. And what it does is when you are below 30% health, you gain a 45% chance to avoid damage. And this card has saved my butt over and over and over. I mean, I took it down with me when we did Project Paradise. I was a level 7, and I should have died way more times than I did. And I honestly think Serendipity is the big help there. So it's a great underrated card for a low level. For pistol build specifically, I've got Gunslinger, of course. I just have regular Gunslinger maxed out at 3, and I will eventually get Expert and Master, I think is the 3rd level. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I will max that out because I do plan on continuing this pistol build because I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've never done a pistol build before. I have Gun Runner, which increases your running speed by 20% when you have a pistol equipped, which is great. And then Pack and Light, which makes your pistols weigh 50% less, which is great. I have Crack Shot happening over in Perception. It gives my pistols 30% more range and much better accuracy when sighted. So that's what I have specifically for pistols. There is the Modern Renegade perk, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know if I'll even pick that up at some point, but it basically gives you better hip fire accuracy. I'm a VATS girl, so I don't know that I will ever utilize that, but I am going to pick up Concentrated Fire, which targets limbs in VATS. I know we've talked about that on the podcast before. And then I have Action Girl waiting in the wings when I have enough perk points and agility. I have that at level 2. I'm going to put that at level 3 and pop it in my agility piece because I use a lot of AP, obviously, because I'm a VATS girl, which is great. Finally, I always pick up Pack Rat, which makes your junk weigh less. And then I might be the only person ever that loves the Born Survivor perk because it's the one that auto-stims you when you fall below a certain amount of health. I just have level 1, so at 20% health, it gives me a stim pack every 20 seconds. It's nice to not have to think about it. So I just appreciate those. So that's kind of where I have my cards at. That's my plan for the future, which is great. And I am very excited to continue this pistol build, like I said before. And I'm really having a lot of fun playing with the PS4 group. Like I said, we went down and we did Project Paradise. I was at a super low level, but they really helped me out. They found me a great spot where I can kind of hide out and shoot things. So that was a really, really fun weekend, and we are planning more for the future. PC group, I will be back to play with you guys here pretty soon. And then the other day, my husband and I were talking about possibly buying an Xbox. I don't know if we've become a multi-console using family, apparently. So maybe my dream will come true of getting to play with all of you guys at one point. And again, I just wanted to say that I appreciate this community so much. You guys have done more for me than you will probably ever even know. And having this group on the internet, this community on the internet, means so much to me. And I have made some amazing friends. And I just want to thank everyone again for just everything that you've done for me. This community has done a lot more for me than I feel like I've done for it. So keep doing what you're doing. And I'm really enjoying listening to the show. I do want to defend my Damashek title at some point, so we need to get that going. But until then, I will see you all in the wasteland.
All right, it's okay. Even she's getting an Xbox. Okay, you're getting an Xbox. Okay, Sarah, we need some space. Seriously, it's embarrassing. You're stalking. Are we gonna have to get one of those? You must stay 100 Xboxes away from our group. It's getting a little serious here. No, thank you for the great feedback. Pistols, again, like there's each category of weapon. You know, the pistols, rifles, where they have their assigned gun. But it seems like pistols might have a slight advantage that others don't. Is there an increased running speed while rifles or big guns equipped? Or is there faster movement when those are equipped? Card?
No, that's a pistol thing, I think.
Yeah. So
Yep.
gun runner. There you go. That's an advantage doing your pistols. We're faster, and then you combine that with like the speed squad or whatever that one's called. When you're teamed up with people, you can run 20% faster too, and then you get the mutation with speed demon on it, and you're fucking moving, man.
Yeah, and she mentioned crack shot, which is a great one for better accuracy and range. There's a lot of good cards for pistols, and if you're doing a VATS build, while they're not quite as good as Fallout 4, where you can use a pistol and get a lot of shots off in VATS, with Deliverer, they're still pretty great. So if you like VATS, pistols are the way to go.
All right, so she said that she likes sighted, which only kicks in when you're at below a certain level of health. She should mix in pistols and bloodied. Do like a bloodied pistol. And I was thinking, she said she likes the auto stem. So I was thinking, how many auto stem versions can we do? There's the auto stem armor.
Mm-hmm.
There's the when you get to 20% health card. There's a card that gives you auto stem at that level. What is that one?
I'm not remembering the name.
But you know what I'm talking about. There's a card that when you get to 20% health, it'll smack you with a stem pack. And that'll
Yeah.
Born Survivor, I think.
Born Survivor. Okay, that'll destroy your stem pack supply if you have that thing on. I've discovered. Okay, so you've got the card, you've got the armor, you've got Mysterious Savior. He can auto stem you too upon death.
Hey,
stack
does
with those things.
pack when Mysterious Savior does it use one out of your inventory or no?
I've never checked the notice, Jess. That's a wonderful question. I'll try to remember to check that sometime. And I would think you add a vampire pistol. Like, do you want a bloodied? Yeah, probably bloodied is better. But vampire would also be a fun thing with all those auto stems, and you get a little bit of health with each hit on a pistol or something. I don't know. I think that sounds fun. Sarah, thank you so much for your great information there. That's a lot of good stuff.
And Serendipity is good because it's a low level perk. So it kicks in at level 5.
Oh, nice.
So you could pop 3 quick levels of that and then later on replace it with some other stuff.
Yeah.
So
she said she commented on Sighted. pistols. Like there's a perk card that gives you better, accuracy and distance or range, whatever, when sighted. Do you guys use a lot of scopes on pistols?
Yes.
Sure.
You do? Wow. Okay. I've never been a big pistol guy, so I found
that early pistol that you get from doing the airport quest has a scope on it. It ignores 50% of armor.
I always like a 44 pistol with like a giant scope on it that's basically as big as the gun itself.
Yeah, I got into that because of Kellogg's gun in Fallout 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I always thought it looked super silly. I'm like, wow.
But it's great. I mean, it's great for getting that extra sneak damage. That's why pistols are my backup.
I'm not sure what it is. It must have been like a glow sight. I don't even know what made it, but I picked one up today that was a pistol that had it looked like a laser sight. So it looked like totally out of place. Like there's no way. It looked like something the Institute would have on their laser weapons.
Probably the recon scope then.
Recon scope. I was just like, this looks really silly and out of place on this 44 pistol or whatever, this Western revolver. It's like,
I want one on my Western revolver. I switched from a regular 44 to Western, and I don't have a good scope for it yet. I need to learn one if there's one out there.
Crazy. Yeah. So good deal, Sarah. Thank you again for your pistol build. That's always fun. There's so many ways to play the damn game. We got to play them all at some point, right? So Sarah, if you can send us a screen cap of that, I'm not sure if you did. Yeah, you did. We'll go ahead and upload that with everyone else's. You can check out the visual spectrum as she's describing it. Eric, let's see what Eric, also first time submitter. Few of those this evening. Thanks everyone for sending in your feedback and all of your ideas on these character builds. Eric, you have a few words for us here.
Hey guys, I'm going to quickly try and summarize all the cards I use on my character that I've been using since the beta. I basically am a melee build, so my stats are 15 in strength. I use 2 in perception, 4 in endurance, 4 in charisma, 8 in intelligence, 8 in agility, 15 in luck. Basically, I want to respec. I don't really care about endurance or perception anymore. So I'm probably going to shift those points eventually into intelligence or charisma. And then I basically run on strength. The 3 most important cards, I think, are Martial Artist, because it lets you swing your weapons really fast. And they are lighter. Incisor, because it eats through people's armor. And then Blocker, because it gives you up to, at level 3, 45%, ignoring incoming melee attacks. So then I run, a lot of times I'm over encumbered unless I put on Traveling Pharmacy and Bandolier. And then I'm a level 160, so I've basically accumulated every single type of melee, along with, the Slugger, Gladiator, and the Iron Fist. So I have usually put in 1 point cards of each one of those. For the Slugger, if I want to run single or two-handed, and then if I'm going to use knives, which is my favorite weapon, I do all the Gladiator at 1 point. In perception, the only card I even care about is Green Thumb. All the others, like sometimes I'll use weapons, and then I'll put in 2 riflemen, but all the other cards are pretty much useless to me in that one. Endurance, I used to have a ton of points in endurance, and I've got a ton of cards in endurance, but we use basically fireproof and sometimes good doggy if I'm hungry and running out of food. But I'm eventually going to move all those points out of endurance and into something else. I basically run 4 in charisma, and I always have hard bargain and travel agent on because I'm running around and selling outfits and traveling from place to place, and I never don't get the most caps for my sales. All the other charisma cards in there, I do use when I'm on a team, but most of the time I'm not on a team. And then in intelligence, I'm always running Makeshift Warrior at 5 because I use all melee weapons. and that reduces the weight and reduces the time that it deteriorates, or makes the weapons deteriorate less. I also run 3 in Power Patcher because I'm basically running 80%, 95% in power armor, and that makes your power armor break 60% more slowly, and it's cheaper to repair. In agility, I play around a lot with my agility cards. I'm almost always using action girl or boy, and then dodgy, so that I avoid 30% of incoming damage. So dodgy plus blocker is 75% of incoming damage. So my character's pretty tanky and can just stand there and take a lot of hits, especially in power armor. With all the tadpole stuff and the possum stuff, I'm with the backpack and the carry weight. I'm playing around more with not being in power armor so much, but I find I get beat up a lot if I try and just run in and do what I do in power armor. And then the last one is luck at 15. I always try and run. Well, for sure, since I'm mutated, I run Starch Genes at 2 and Class Freak at 3. And then I like a lot of the cards in luck, so I'll run Bloody Mess or Ricochet. And then if I'm carrying around stuff that I don't want to spoil, Good with Salt at level 3 lets you carry stuff for days without it going bad. So those are all the normal cards while I'm playing. But then when I'm fixing armor or building stuff, I run with there's all the other cards that are valuable, like Ammo Smith for having multiple ammo be made instead of just a few. I just realized recently that White Knight, the card in agility, makes your armor cheaper to repair. So I'm going to try and get that up to level 3. I always try to remember to use Fix It Good, because that makes your armor go to, at the highest level, up to 200% when you repair it. I invested points in Powersmith when I was first trying to build all the initial armors, which makes it a lot less taxing to build your armor initially. But I guess I would have just struggled through collecting all the materials and just built the stuff without wasting a couple points in Powersmith. Weapon Artisan, I try to remember to use all the time to repair your weapons up to 200%. Super Duper, try to always have that on when you're making anything, crafting anything. And then recently, with I think Will's feedback on going through West Tech and having Scrapper on, a lot of people have mentioned it. If you throw Scrapper on and you've killed a bunch of super mutants and you get like the laser rifles and things like that, you get a lot of plastic and a lot of good materials. So try to remember when I'm going to a bench to throw the Scrapper card on. And then Armorer, I always throw on Armorer before I build my hundreds of Assault Marine helmets that I sell for 27 caps a piece. That makes crafting your armor take less materials. So that's about it for all my cards. That's my summary. Hope you found it helpful.
Hey, great first submission there. Thank you so much, Eric. When he brought up all the crafting cards. I should have mentioned when we're talking about all of our home cards that we put on when we go to our camp. But those are of course cards that I always toss on too. I don't know if we actually mentioned that, but yeah, I got in our home build out. I'll of course toss on, armor, makeshift warrior, or weapon, whatever
Artisan.
A weapon artisan. Did we ask last week? I think this is something I complained about heavily already. White Knight makes a more efficient for armor building and repair. Is there a gun version? I think we already ranted on this last week, right? There is no gun version of White Knight?
We talked about it a bit in chat about how they don't quite line up. White Knight helps with repair cost and degradation, and then for gunsmiths, gunsmith helps you build better mods and helps with degradation, but doesn't help with repair cost. They kind of mix it up a little bit between weapons and armor.
Okay, so there's not a direct correlation, a direct equivalent into each of those categories, which I found a little strange. I guess I guess it's cool or whatever. But
I mean, there is, each one of them do have the crafting that lets you craft over 100%, right? They both have
Mhm.
those.
yeah, you can
Yeah, the
yeah.
artisan for weapon.
Yep.
So, not to go all Alanis Morissette here, I'm not so good at defining irony sometimes, but would we consider it ironic that Eric, who is our number one outfit finder, rare outfit buyer and seller, says he spends 90% of his time in power armor? just a thought. I didn't realize how much you wore power armor until he said that. I would think of him as the king of outfits.
He is.
I'm actually playing with him right now, and I gave him a new
What's he wearing?
out.
What's he
he
wearing? What's he wearing?
he ran away. I think the stray jacket, and then I just gave him an Assaultron helmet because he didn't have one of those.
Ooh, and he can wear it around on his head.
Yeah, something new for his wardrobe
I
that
thought
you won't see.
I thought those were a weapon. I didn't realize those were a helmet.
Yeah, you could. I could make it into a helmet. I don't know how I got that, but
That's
I
fun.
didn't realize it was rare.
My favorite robot helmet, the iBot helmet from Fallout 4. I don't know if you can do it in 76 or not, but the iBot helmet from Fallout 4 is one of my favorites. It's really fun. All right.
Well, if he wants to shed his power armor, he can always throw perks and sneak. Then he can wear all his outfits and still not get killed.
Eric also sent a email in here, right? He says, I forgot to mention about Lone Wanderer in my recording. I want to add Lone Wanderer in the future as it provides 20% more damage protection. So, Blocker has 45. Dodgy has 30. 20% with Lone Wanderer equals 95% damage resistance before armor is even considered.
Hear, hear.
Now tell me what that actually means mathematically. Damage. I've never quite understood this. Like, plus, is it better to have damage?
So it's all nuanced in the language though, because
right.
So Lone Wanderer, you take 20% less damage. Okay, but what was the other one called?
Blocker.
Blocker.
That's the 45% less damage from melee attacks, but that's they don't add up quite like that. It doesn't get you to 95% really.
Yeah.
All right. So is it better to take 20% less damage or have 20%?
Well, plus 20 damage resistance.
Are those different?
Well, it depends on it depends on what damage you're taking.
And then sometimes it's a straight number, sometimes it's a percent. So like Ironclad, Stephen mentioned Ironclad, and that plus 10 damage resistance, plus 20 damage resistance, but that's not 20%. That's just a straight 20.
Yeah.
So like how Pat was talking about how those don't scale. If it's not a percent, it doesn't scale. If it's a percent, it does. It's complicated.
So okay, so
yeah, and if you're getting beat on by super mutants with super sledges, then yeah, you want percent.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's better in the long run to always go with the take the percentage less damage instead of investing the points into damage resistance.
Yeah.
Because what is it? There's cards. Yeah. Okay.
But then again, it's still, there's chance, and then there's take less damage. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of stuff you can stack up, but it's they're not going to let you get 95% damage, eliminated from the game. Because then you would just be unstoppable. And they don't like that. It's no fun.
Right. It's synergistic. All those things help, like I was talking about when describing my build, but it's not totally additive. They work together, and sometimes they add, but most of the time it's just all kinds of different ways to resist damage and across the board.
Yeah. And it's just like two-shot weapons.
Mm.
So it's not double a one-shot weapon. It's double the base damage of the weapon, and then it adds, all the other stuff on top of it. If it's got a better receiver, does it have some kind of damage buff to it? But the second shot is always from the base damage of the weapon.
So you're not getting the full damage that it's showing you in the stats the second time.
So you do get the damage that they show you in the stats, but that isn't twice the damage of, if somebody had the same weapon, but wasn't two shot, it wouldn't be half of what the two shot weapon is.
Right. Yeah, the damage you're seeing, Sergio, is including the second shot. So say with all the mods, like Ray's saying, you would get 100, and then you're getting plus 60 because that would be the base damage. So your two shot would be 160.
Okay. So because for example, I do have a two shot shotgun. That 323 isn't 323 times 2, so now it's 600 and change. It's
No.
323 the two shots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep, and that's why if you had the exact same shotgun with the exact same mods that wasn't two shot, you'd see what the damage was, which on that might be like 200 or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I understand.
But if you sneak, you will get that 2 times.
Right. Yeah.
Push it, sneak. I love it. One thing I've often wondered about two shots, you know how the accuracy seems to go down on that? That always seems to be the biggest difference. When you get a two shot weapon, it has less accuracy. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, I mean the shotgun has a 9 accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it be so low if you're going to be so up close to somebody?
Yeah, that's what's kind of odd to me. Whereas if you don't have the two shot version, it might be 18. It seems like when you get a two shot, it halves it. And I don't know how that works mathematically because I don't seem to miss a whole lot more. But it's something I was thinking about.
All right.
It's hard to get those bullets to come out side by side.
They don't get out there, do they? Thank you, everyone, for your submissions on your builds. I have a quick one I'll rip through here, Ray. If you want to cover, you said you had a hunter/rifle. What we might cover quickly is
it's not a huge difference from my melee.
The heavy guns, power armor, very easy and self-explanatory. All the heavy gun cards, of course, and the strength. Lock and load to make your reload faster. Anything that makes your weight of heavy weapons less, of course, because those things are heavy as hell. I have a lot of intelligence 15, strength of 15. The intelligence is all due to the power armor side of everything. There's a couple power armor cards that do, like we were discussing with armor versus this and that, damage resistance. There's a couple of the armor ones that you're going to have to decide, do I want this or this, because it doesn't make sense to have both probably. What I ended up using were stabilized powersmith, power patcher, portable power, and power user were the ones that I settled on in intelligence. But there are a couple other intelligence cards for power armor that do slightly different things, so you want to look into the stats, and it just really depends on what you want to do for your build. But those are the ones that I ended up with: the heavy guns and the power armor. The agility ones, I think adrenaline works well with that sort of build, but I only did one level of that. Action boy, I wanted my agility to be able to refresh. I don't know if that makes sense with the character or not, really, if you actually need agility to do your heavy guns. It's really just basically strength and intelligence are the two you want to concentrate on. And I dumped basically the rest of my remaining things into luck. That's just because I'm a sucker for luck, though, you guys. Like I did 3 points of bloody mess, and then I made it automatic with with my starch jeans and class freak, of course, because those are my favorite. You're automatically going to do ammo smith for your agility, and tap that up with super duper, because especially if you're doing like a minigun or something, you're going to rip through your fucking ammunition with a big gun. So always have your ammo smith and super duper together. Luck of the draw and lucky break, I paired those up with the power armor. I think that would work well. It repairs your big gun and your power armor together. Now I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that would. There's some other things that like Radicool. Like, do you bother put that sort of thing on in power armor? Because like it's like if your rads go higher than then it's the greater your strength, and you want your strength up. Your power armor, your heavy gun.
I think in power armor you're already getting a boost to strength, so
you don't need Radicool, so that doesn't make sense. You know, there's builds here. You have to read the details in these cards, everyone. To it's like, because to me it makes sense to have Radicool, but then wait, if I put power armor on, then it doesn't make sense all of a sudden. So that's my quick rundown of power armor big guns. That's a pretty obvious one. It's really the intelligence power armor cards and the strength big guns cards. There's a crippling one. You want that? Pat was mentioning. You'll want. Sorry.
One gun army.
One gun army.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll want that one. All right, Ray, rifles highlights with your rifleman hunter build there. Maybe to go.
So really, the new perks for that for me are going to be tank killer, which ignores armor.
Yeah.
Tormentor, which has a chance to cripple limbs. Long shot to extend the range and damage, and then I'm going to take a one level of sniper, which improves focus and accuracy. The damage on it increases not enough to make it worth the later levels.
Yeah.
And then I'll dabble in bats. So I'll take concentrated fire.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can target limbs.
The benefit of concentrated fire is that, and I just kind of realized this by reading the card, you actually do more damage because you're able to concentrate the fire, hence the name of the card, into that one area. Instead of doing an overall damage to the whole body, you now can do like crippling damage to a limb, basically. You'll beef up the damage that you're doing to that limb. So that does make sense to do with guns, I think. VATS if you're doing that.
Yeah.
But not melee again. That doesn't work.
No.
Let's either or. Quick game. Do you want to deal more damage, or do you want to ignore more armor if you had to choose between the two?
I'm going to go for damage.
More damage.
Yeah, I'll choose ignore armor just to be different. I go for piercing rounds whenever I can, or anti-armor. Just because I don't know. That way I know my bullets are being effective.
Either or. Do you want weigh percentage less or plus carry weight?
Percentage less.
Plus carry.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know, because until the legendary vendor came around, I'd never really had a problem with carry weight, because I carry a very lightweight knife, a lightweight sword, and one rifle.
Murgleberg strikes again.
Yeah. And so, I would only I would only carry the bullets for that one gun. And so carry weight was never an issue. And because she's a cannibal, don't have to carry food.
Oh,
So
yeah. The meat that you eat is at your feet.
I heard that somewhere. Okay, maybe it was on a T-shirt.
Oh, that's so good. And this last one you guys have actually already answered, but I'll go ahead and ask it anyway. 20% damage resist versus 20 points less damage.
Yeah, percentage.
Yeah, percent.
Always. All right, you guys want to play one more quick game before we sign off for the evening, or do we need to go?
I'm good.
Longer. Pat had to bow out a little bit earlier during the feedback.
We teased this earlier. We might as well go ahead and kill this game. Damashek game. Everyone knows it. It's our list game. Let's start coming up with our own name for it. Let's start calling it something like screaming at your phone or something like that. Because I know people out there know ones that are listed in their heads and they're screaming at our phones when we're sitting here hemming and hawing and thinking and we have no idea what to say next. But this one we should be able to rattle off very quickly. The premise of the game, if you haven't listened to the show before, I have a master list of items and category in Fallout 76. What I will do is I will go down the row and I will ask Jess, can you name an item from this category? And if she can, great. We go on to the next person. If she cannot, we cross her name off and she is out. Now we have to try to get every item in this list, and we'll just keep going round and round and round until all the items are listed, or everyone is eliminated, and the last person standing, of course, is our winner. So let's get into it. Screaming at your phone for this evening. Fallout 76 is the game, and the category is bobbleheads. Jess.
Okay. I guess we'll do special. Strength.
Strength is there. Yes, Ray.
So I'm going to get this out before anybody else can steal it. Leader.
Absolutely, leader. We burned it early in the episode, leader. I can't believe you fucking did that, Ray.
Well, I don't know what the list is going to be.
It was just like the probability. It was perfect. I was like, okay, I came up with these 4 lists for Damashek a long ass time ago, like weeks ago. I had these 4, and I was like, okay, these are 4 good ones to start with. We burned 1, and then we did 2 one episode, and then we have this last one. And I was like, ooh, we'll say this one. This will be good. Ooh, there's one in there that I've never seen before. This is really gonna throw a fucking curveball. Ooh, Andrew, you've really got him here. They are cornered. They'll never get the leader bobblehead. And then Ray, in the fucking beginning of the episode, it just happens to be the fucking list we're using. God damn it, Ray.
Well, at least everybody knows now that I don't get a sneak peek at the what we're going to do.
Okay, Ray, what the fuck does the leader bobblehead do? Now we have to get into the leader bobblehead now. What the hell is this?
So the leader bobblehead gives you extra XP for 1 hour.
What? Oh, gosh, cranberry and leader bobblehead hand in hand. Yes. Oh, and inspirational. Get your triple dip. Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, now that I've given Sergio all the time in the world to think,
I've got every single one in my head now.
And you collect shit, so you probably do have them all. Name one.
Lockpick.
Oh, good one.
Lockpick, yes, sir. And it's not called fucking pick lock like the stupid card, right? Oh god,
I think lockpicking.
That bugs me. Yeah, I think lock picking technically is what it's called, but that bugs me so much. I don't know why that they pick lock.
A pick lock is the person, so a pick lock uses a lock pick.
But it was in Fallout 4. It was called lock picking. The perk, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'm not dumb. Jess, you're up.
Back to special perception.
Perception is there. Yes, Ray.
Melee.
Melee is there. Thank you, Sergio.
Heavy weapon.
Heavy weapon, absolutely. Where is it, H?
I think it's called big guns.
I didn't write it down. Yes, big guns. There you go. Okay, big guns. Back around to Jess.
Endurance.
Sorry, say that again.
Endurance. If they're not an endurance bobblehead, am I out?
And
No, there has to be one.
there is. I can't read my own handwriting. Endurance. Yeah, you're going down the specials there. Ray.
Sneak.
Absolutely. Well, sneak should be after small. No, God, I wrote it out of order again. I'm not alphabetizing things well. See, I'm reading these lists and they're not alphabetized, so I'm trying to alphabetize them as I go. And I'm like, oh, cramming ones in here and there. Sneak, Ray. Yes. Sergio, you're up.
Small guns.
Absolutely. Small guns. Jess.
Charisma.
Charisma. Absolutely. Ray.
Unarmed.
Is it there? Yes, it is. Unarmed. Yes, it is. Sergio.
Oh man. Science.
Science is there. Absolutely.
Good one.
Jeff.
Intelligence.
Absolutely. Intelligence. Hey, I actually wrote that one in alphabetical order. Good. Ray.
Explosives.
Is it there? It is there. Yes. You should have hopped on that one, Sergio. Sergio, you're up.
Energy weapon.
Absolutely. Energy weapons. Perfect. Jess, around to you.
Agility.
Agility it is. Ray, sorry.
Luck for the block, Andrew.
For the block. You killed all the specials. Luck.
It has flipped all the squares.
Sergio.
Caps.
Oh my God! How did you know that?
Yeah.
Leader and caps, I think, are the new ones to this game. What is? I assume caps just gives you a percentage more caps earned on, like what, better prices maybe, or like more caps on dead things, or in cap stashes. I don't know. What does that do? Have you used it?
I have no idea. I've never used any bobblehead. I just collect them, and then once I have them, I sell them.
You're like, I'm so ready for the bobblehead display.
I can't wait for that and the magazine display.
Yeah, the magazine rack will be nice. Sergio, you got caps, which remarkable, very good. Jess, do you have any more guesses?
This is actually the only bobblehead I own in real life. The repair.
Absolutely, repair. I can't believe it. That's one I never would have thought of ever. Ray, can you pull it off?
Has anybody said medicine?
Oh my God, you guys got the list. Ding, ding.
Good shit.
Every single one of them. No one fall out. You got all 20 of the bobbleheads. Good job, you guys. Another perfect run. You've done that a couple times now. What was the first time you did? You guys, ammunition types. And that was even remarkable because there's like fucking 30 kinds of ammo or something like that. So that's our fun little game. We'll call it Streaming.
And one of those ammo types is actually getting a bump from the new patch 10.
Sorry, what? Explain that. What's happening?
So now the paddle ball will have a targeting reticle.
Oh yeah.
Wait, have you used this as a weapon?
No. I haven't even seen one.
But now you have a reason to.
Yeah.
I can build the string. I've accidentally built it plenty of times, but I'm like, oh fuck, what was that? But there has to be a paddle at some point, I assume.
You got to think.
Their plans,
and when you find it, it'll have a targeting reticle on it.
I was at one of the responder vendors the other day, and I saw a bunch of paddle ball string listed, but I didn't see the paddle.
Yeah. All right, let's get that paddle out. It can go good with the commie whacker or whatever that thing is that they use for not mole miners. Whack-a-mole miner. Yeah. Awesome. Guys, congratulations on the game. You nailed the bobbleheads out of the park. That means we've demolished my list that I have. I need to start brainstorming some more categories and come up with more lists for you guys to play in future episodes. Jess, there's a few things you had lined up, like show notes from last week and some patch notes and stuff like that. Is there stuff quickly you'd like to mention?
Yeah. If I got time, I'll throw in a few things.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Take whatever time you want. I'm willing to, hang out and talk.
just some tips from last week, things to check out, all that. So they're not quite as timely now. But one thing I wanted to mention, there was a video making the rounds last week that was pretty cool. It was on YouTube by Spider Games, and some people might have seen it, but if you haven't, you should check it out. It's talking about different ways to get legendaries, saying the way people have been farming legendaries are wrong. There are different ways to do it. And he goes into a couple of things that I thought were pretty good tips. He talks about in One Violent Night how it's good to have delay of game, not rush to the end, not play the instrument too much, but get past that first. When doing One Violent Night, it's an event people probably know at the Sons of Dane Hall, and you have to make noise to attract ghouls and then ultimately a Wendigo. Well, if you get there with 20, 30 minutes, if you get it up to the first scream or two from the Wendigo, there are 3 levels total, you get the waves of ghouls regularly, delay it, keep it going, because you're going to get more legendaries coming up. You're going to get groups of 3 or 4 ghouls, great XP all at once, real fast. So he has that tip there. He also talks about how with hordes, if you damage the horde leader, who isn't always a legendary, but he has a crown on their head, damage him but don't kill him. Keep the fight going. You'll get a lot of more creatures spawning in to help defend him in the horde, and you'll get more legendaries that way. So just a couple of neat tips. He had a few others. I don't know. Have any of you guys seen that video yet?
I have not. Yeah, you know me. I'm not a huge YouTube guy, but we should post that link.
Yeah, that might be a good put on the group. Then another thing, the Arctos Pharma backpack, and people might know this by now too, but we kind of realized last week that when you actually, if you manage to get into Project Paradise and complete it, you get a lot of items for completing it. But one thing you don't get a plan for, like that you have to read, but actually you do get, is the ability to craft the Arctos Pharma skin for your backpack. So if you've gotten your badges, you have a backpack, and you complete Project Paradise, you'll find that you probably have the Arctos Pharma skin. So no one knows they have it unless they go to crafting and see it, but it should be in there. Let's see, one more thing. We talked about this a bit on the Facebook group. Sergio, you posted a link, which was great. But there's a podcast called Unfiltered. That Ryan McCaffrey does. Ryan McCaffrey, he's an editor, senior editor over at IGN. So he has this show. Well, full disclosure, he is also their Xbox editor, and he does a show called Podcast Unlocked. And I'm actually a moderator for the fan group for that. So I watch a lot of the stuff he does. But he has an interview on his show Unfiltered with Todd Howard this month. So it's a great podcast. I recommend subscribing to it and checking out a lot of past episodes, because he's got a couple people from Obsidian, for instance, Fergus, and I think Tom. He had Brian Fargo from In Exile, so a lot of great RPG developers. But the Todd Howard one gives you some real insight on 76 and some good Bethesda history in the same kind of way the No Clip interview did.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in the Facebook group were seeing it and commenting on it, and I thought it was pretty revealing about how they feel about 76 specifically and other stuff.
Yeah, I feel good about E3 with 76 after listening to that interview. I think they're going to announce a good amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I really hope they get into that roadmap of it. One thing I also saw on the Iguana bits, to jump a little bit, but they had 3 Iguana bits this week, and the first one back on May 31st was a Q&A with the design director and lead quest designer, I think. And they talked about upcoming content, among other things. And she mentioned Nuclear Winter. She mentioned Wasteland, but she also said Vaults. So that's not on the roadmap specifically. We've talked about how they're going to be coming, but she mentioned it as a separate thing. So that could be pretty awesome. More things to think about. And that interview is well worth a read.
Wonderful.
On the Iguana bits, let's see. There was one about store stuff, but did you want to talk about some of the stuff about weapons, Ray or Sergio?
Yeah, there's not it's not super big things, but just really will, just kind of help polish that game a little bit as far as the weapon handling goes. Being able to keep your weapon drawn, canceling out of a reload if you happen to be, set on by an enemy that you didn't see coming. Instead of having to wait for the whole reload animation to go through, you can cancel out of it and fire. There's a big list of guns that they're going to add sights to. And then this might actually help me learn how to use a console controller. They are giving you fine-tuned control over your X and Y axis separately. So instead of just barely touching the controller and having my character staring into space and spinning around, we'll be able to control all that. And it's not as big a deal on PC because I have 3 or 4 buttons that control the sensitivity of my mouse, in live action. So, but certainly for controllers, that's got to be a big help.
I'm maxed out sensitivity 100% and invert Y axis.
Really?
What do you guys do?
No way. 100% and inverted?
Absolutely.
So you can go the wrong way quicker.
Well, a lot of my first games were pilot games, and those are always pushed down to go up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You pull back on the joystick to go up.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned a lot of my games. So I push that. That's how it's natural to me.
A lot of people play inverted. I joke about it, but it was a big thing on PC, and my husband plays inverted too, so I tease him all the time. I can't do it. I do about 50% and regular XY axis.
Oh, 50% sensitivity. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't changed the game. Whatever it came originally, that's the way my sensitivity is.
I feel like it goes slow if I'm at less than 70% or so. I just feel like hurry up, go, turn, go.
I think it defaults like around 30 to start.
Wow.
I think I had I move slower, but I feel like I have better accuracy, especially from far away.
That probably does hurt my ranged hip shooting, but I don't do that. I VAT, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So 100% speed and inverted Y-axis. Yeah. Ray doesn't have to do that. He just points and clicks and things die. Ray, you have something here about targeting reticles, Gatling weapons, minigun, broadsider, 50 cal machine gun, auto grenade launcher, Fat Man, harpoon gun, and you have a targeting reticle for the paddle ball. Yes, even the paddle ball. That's amazing. So once you do find the damn thing, we have plenty of string. We now have a way to aim it. We just need to find the fucking paddle, you guys.
Wonder how many hits to take out the queen.
Scorch Beast Queen. With
will it break before she goes down?
Well, what you need to do is you need to get yourself a bloodied paddle ball build and go to town and get the damage. Get the carnival. It's called the Carney card, where your paddle ball and your commie whackers do 1 billion damage.
Just don't hit the net.
All right. Wonderful, guys. Good job on your game show right here at the end. Your builds, very informative. There's so much deep information in this episode. All the cards, what they do, the philosophies on getting 1 point versus 5 point, investing here and there, what you do with the other points if you don't invest. All these cards mentioned. I hope everyone took good notes. It was swirling data all around my head. We usually have like 2 or 3 lines of show notes. This was like 8 pages of show notes that we had here. So lots of data, lots of thick stuff to go through here. Listen to this episode a couple times if you have to. Take notes on your specific build. Once you roll your characters here in a couple weeks for the new roundtable episodes, if you need to refer back to this episode to see what direction you can head out with those stats, those you poor unfortunate souls, those horrible stats that you're going to be dealt. How are you going to deal with that stupid bad handout? We'll come back and refer to this episode again, and we'll help you with some advice there. And also, again, I'll post all these pictures in the Facebook group, so you can refer back to those. And I'll try to bump up this post here in a couple weeks when we get around to rolling those characters for the next round table. Ray, would you like to tell anybody out there who's sort of like never really done the round table, what anything like this, how do they get involved? What do we want people to do when signing up for the roundtable? We always love to encourage new participants every season, and we always do get a handful of new people every season. So, Ray, how does a new person get involved in our little roundtable project?
Well, for starters, send us an email at thefalloutfeed@gmail.com and let us know that you're interested and want to play along. When we do our roll show on June 20th, I believe, we'll roll characters. Give us a number between 1 and 10, and that's how many times we'll refresh the generator and get your spectacular and bound to be a lot of fun character role put together for you.
You're correct.
I'll screenshot it and we'll post it on the Facebook site, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely. And we ask anyone who rolls a character to please send us a short audio submission. At the beginning of the season, when there's lots of people sending in feedback, we ask everyone to please keep it to around 5 minutes or so, just because the episodes, as you can tell by this episode, things tend to get pretty lengthy here at the Fallout feed, especially when we have lots of people sending in feedback. So we ask people to send in a short audio clip of your adventures, describing all of what's been going on. Now, keep in mind, we want to know the aspects of your character that make your experience different from everyone else. Everyone's going to be doing the same quests. So we need to know what about these quests is different in your experience. What about this character role made it especially interesting or weird for you? So we're not looking for just a regurgitation of walked here, did this. We're going to ask you why you did that, how your character role affected your decision making, and really developing a backstory of your character and how you're applying that to the stats you were unfortunately dealt. So welcome any new people to the Roundtable Project. There's lots of nervous people who contact us, I've never thought about doing that, or like, I can't do this sort of thing, or like submitting audio, I'm really nervous about doing that. Please just ask Will, ask Jen, ask any of these people who seem like and they are staples of our community here in the feedback, but evidently they were so nervous and they couldn't really do it. Freaking out. Please. We are so accepting, a nurturing environment community here. We're very gentle, and we love all of the feedback. And this is a community project. We really couldn't do this thing without everyone out there. So we're very welcoming. And if you're nervous about recording your voice, please don't be. I thought the first time I heard my voice speaking on recordings, I thought I sounded terrible. It was the worst thing ever. Everyone's voice sounds terrible to themselves. I don't even notice my own voice anymore. It's like it's not even a thing. It's just like hearing your recorded voice sounds terrible at first, but you get over it so quickly, and then you realize, what was I even worried about? Now I'm involved in this wonderful community, and everything is great. Having a good time, having great conversations, having fun time playing games, literally with each other in the wasteland, and it is a very fun experience. I encourage everyone out there to hop on.
Yeah.
Join
and
in.
if you like telling stories, or if you want to take a shot at telling a story, that's some of our most fun feedback is not even, it's not about how the literal gameplay. It's, tell that story. What's your character going through? What are they involved with? And and how are they affected by all this stuff going on around them.
Yeah.
No, I got a quick question with it because this is gonna be my first time trying to do this. When you guys roll that, it comes up with everything, like the all the points, the I don't know, the sex of the person, their name, like all that kind of stuff comes up.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
We have changed a little bit from last season, but generally, it'll bring up your gender, your character's name. It'll tell you your special point distribution. One of your specials will be a 1. One of your specials will be a 15. And hopefully those are distributed to things that don't really fuck your character over. Now, this is a project for fun. If you roll something and that's going to make you miserable, please roll again and have something that'll be fun. But also keep in mind, this is also a horizon expanding opportunity for you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And if you're a sneaky sniper, first of all, yawn. But second of all, go ahead and, if you get rolled lots of agility and rifleman perks, go ahead and say, no, I better cash this one in. Let's see what I get on my next roll. Have fun with it. Get out of your comfort zone. Tell us about your adventures. It's a wonderful time.
And there are a lot of fun categories this time that could add to the role playing too. If you are a more story driven person, stuff like outfits, style of camp, all kinds of stuff that you can take and use in your character, or you can ignore if you want. But we wanted to really kind of flesh it out and make it a little more comprehensive.
Yes, absolutely. And Steve has done a wonderful job. Again, if I remember, God, I've told myself the last 3 days this is a priority, so hopefully I'll write a note on my hand, pinch myself, tie a string on my finger, and I don't know, set an alarm on my phone. Maybe eventually I'll get this fucking link posted so everyone can dive into Steve and Jess's wonderful new Pip-Boy project for the character generator. You find it at asapodcasting.com in the Fallout feed section. Thank you, everyone, for signing up. I'd like to thank Pat for stopping by the show earlier this evening. He had to take off, understand. Pat, thank you for your wonderful insight and feedback on respec and your cards and everything like that. Jess, thank you so much for hopping on the show tonight. Always a lovely experience speaking with you.
Happy to be here.
Ray, wonderful to podcast with you as always, my friend.
Indeed.
Sergio, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for hopping on. Knocked the ball out of the park. First time on. Thanks a lot, buddy.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this episode of the Fallout feed, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
Oh my God, another show so long already, but apologies here. Keith, I just saw, wrote in an email here. Keith writes, what if we had guilds in the game and each guild had to bid on prime locations, example, Camp Jess's location, within the game, so it would go across every server. Now it would be a simple station in said prime location, and you would have your guild name on it. Each member would contribute to the cost and would sell items as well. Keith, that sounds like some ESO bullshit. That was mean. What's he asking? I don't understand what he's asking.
I think we'll need to parse that one a little bit. I'm not sure either. It sounds like party at Jess's camp, though, so I'm down.
Yeah, Jess's camp. It's totally appropriate. He continues, thoughts of enhancing the crafting system where you would have a set goal in armor or weapon, and if you're at that goal, You could either make special gear for yourself or even make the set pieces and sell player vending for those who don't care to farm materials to make it themselves.
Okay, so like each individual person in the guild picks a certain type of armor to specialize in,
And they just craft that over
and they
over
just craft that, and everybody trades with each other.
to produce caps. Now, this is going to be a private server thing. First of all, like there's no way to do this sort of thing without like mods and private server and stuff. I would assume, right?
Yeah, or if they had a guild system.
Mm-hmm.
And guilds, that's what made me say the ESO thing. That's a guild-based game too, right? How does that work?
A lot of online games have guilds where if everyone who's a member has access to certain things. So maybe a guild house, a guild store where they can sell stuff like that. A guild shared chest where you can put your extra stuff and you can do the plan exchange even if you're not online.
Perfect.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's what we want. Like a guild. Shared chest with everyone in our group. What, like, okay, how do we get that, Jess? What are the steps? What's the process here?
Well, I guess we start lobbying now. Go on to the Bethesda forums.
All right, is that an E3 possibility announcement?
Let's interview Todd Howard and see what he says.
Let's lock him up in our basement until he gives us what we want. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.
Night.